Okay, looks like we are recording. And guys, I'm so excited to have on the program that Cip guy, who I think a lot of my viewers are already going to know. But if you don't know, he's been doing YouTube for a while and he does incredible street outreach. And we've actually been talking about doing this for a while. So I'm glad we finally made it happen. Nice to see you, Cip.
Hey Jeremy, nice to see you, and hello everyone. Yeah, it's yeah, we have been saying this for a while, right? I think we scheduled it once and then
Yeah, I think
forgot
there was some
about it
sort
or
of
something.
conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some conflict or something, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nice to see
Well,
you. I saw you do a lot of good commentary and videos and stuff, but somehow I never get to watch your videos. I think it's the time zone difference that gets me. I was gonna say
y-
timeline, but time zone.
yeah, no doubt. You're in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, a lot of my friends say that that's like the best place to be. So,
Is it?
congrats. Yeah, it
Le-
it's a lot of people's favorite city.
it's a good place to live in. I won't lie. It's I have an open window right now. I'm looking outside, and I constantly tend to look how lucky I am to be living in this place. So it's a good place to be. But
Yeah. Well, what would you say some of the highlights of being in Amsterdam? I mean, I know it's like a very open, like kind of vibrant place.
it's hard to explain. I try to explain to people because I lived in a couple of places. I also lived in US for like I didn't live for long, but like I lived for like 3 or 4 months. My
Mm,
sister's place in North Carolina. And I feel like there's a lot of good things about US, very interesting things. There's a lot of good things about every country you live in. You kind of see a couple of good things here and there. The
mm,
thing that about Netherlands that it's just so hard to explain to everyone, and especially living in Amsterdam, it's the 20 minutes, 15-minute city or 20-minute city. I don't know what they call it, where you can essentially reach any place you want within 15 to 20 minutes.
mm,
And that's an exaggeration because you can reach like anything you want within 10 minutes of biking. So it's just hard to explain how different life is when you don't have to schedule in transportation because just works. So
mm,
it's that's I think the biggest benefit. Otherwise, just an average country. There's
mm.
some bigoted people here, some bigoted people there. The Dutch have this thing of thinking that they're better than anyone else somehow. So,
Well, at least you're
um,
not unique in that, like those I
fair.
think a lot of countries believe that. Um
Yeah.
well, I'll just start off by saying, Chip, when I started this channel 2 years ago, I would always ask my guests on the channel if they would recommend someone that they thought, was doing great work. And your name came up multiple times. This was actually before I even knew who you were. So like my first guest, I believe James Aspie mentioned you, and then several others. So and I can
Nice
see
to
why
hear.
now, having watched you over the last couple of years. You're very consistent. I would say that I know it's an ongoing thing, but I would say that you've sort of perfected the craft in a way. Of the street
Thank you.
outreach that you do and speaking to the public. You have a way of breaking through and getting to people, um, to come around to the message in a way that's very difficult at times. So maybe take us back. I know it's kind of a boring way to structure an interview, but just take us back to like how it all began for you and how you got into animal rights.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like I've just been person who's always been debating my whole life, different topics. I became into science. I was very much into critical thinking and science for a while, and unfortunately, I had to debate a lot of my friends on that, and I lost a lot of friends along the way, as one
Mm,
does debating these kind of topics. And after I became vegan from watching debates, essentially, I was kind of craving debating and having conversations with people about it. And I was on a trip to Berlin with a friend, and there was an animal right. There was a AV there, and I was like, "Ooh." I didn't know what AV was. I didn't know exactly what to expect. I just knew it was about animal rights, and I thought it would be interesting to go just to see what I can do, how I can help. And I do remember that I was at a vegan pizza place. I don't remember which one exactly because now there's so many nowadays in Berlin. Back then, I'm not even sure if there were so many. But anyway,
Mm, mm,
there was a vegan pizza place, and I had to go. My friend was still there. I had to go, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so reluctant to go. Maybe I should stay." And my friend was like, "No, no, go. Come on. I'll find something to do." It's like, okay, perfect. And I grabbed one of those bikes, rental bikes, and went there. It was such a thing in my head because I was so reluctant to not go. But after I went there, it was a different AV in Berlin is not like AV in Amsterdam where they're super strict about everything. They were like
mhm,
or maybe nowadays they are, but when I was there, they weren't. And they kind of explained to me some rules. And I think I stayed for like 45 minutes to an hour. I had maybe two conversations with people on the street. And it was just, I fell in love. The idea of
mm,
having conversations with people on the street, discussing a topic that I loved discussing. There wasn't really any debate per se, but there was argumentation involved, and I'm like, okay, well, that's exactly what I like. So, because it's not like I like being contradictory to somebody, I just like arguing. Um, and and from that moment on, I said I have to make it happen also in Amsterdam. I didn't know about AV first, so what I did was I got a banner, got my own camera, my own. It took me a while to get all that stuff, and then I just sat down, recorded once, never published it. Took me 2 hours to have the courage. Like it was a very slow start, I'll give you that. Then I didn't have the courage to publish it, to go live. Then I started doing AV because I learned that it was AV that I went to in Berlin.
mhm,
And I got more courage speaking to people on the street by doing AV. And at
mm,
some point somebody in AV was recording conversations, and they recorded me, and I watched my conversations back, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Some people in AV were like, oh, you're not firm enough, you're not doing this enough, and I'm like, okay, but whatever. I thought that's good. So
mhm.
then I just decided to start recording and learn to edit and publish. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I wish it were more glamorous. I wish it were some one of those clicky things, but it's just
No, it
like
sounds
it's just
great.
time.
Yeah. Uh, as- so for the people who don't know, we're talking about Anonymous for the Voiceless.
Yeah.
It's AV, and they'll like hold up TV screens. People wear masks, and then other people like around surrounding what they call the cube will discuss to the public. I think most of my viewers already know this, but just making sure. Um, so do you think that you started to record your own stuff in some ways because there was like a rigid structure in place when it came to AV that they had a certain way of doing things and you kind of wanted to do it your way, basically?
So what I saw was happening. The reason why I wanted to do my stuff was because every time, for example, I'm always trying to think of a good example. I don't know if it's crop death or plants though or stuff like that. Whenever you saw one of these typical vegan arguments, or arguments against veganism that we hear so often, every outreacher that I heard say something was just repeating the same argument, was just repeating the same response, which was a great response if you knew what it was. But
Mm,
I feel like to the common person who's like just getting into this, who's like, I don't know what is this person talking about? What did I just get myself into? Like feel like for the most people they wouldn't really understand it. Like the conclusion was based, it was all clear, and it was a very good response, complete with everything. You couldn't debate it. But at the same time, I don't think people really understood the response.
mm,
It felt like a little bit like jumping some steps and getting to the response, is how I would explain it. And I thought, well, maybe people need to not jump. Maybe we need to kind of explain to people a little bit step by step. So that's kind of what I was going for. I was going for, hey, let's try and make sure that people understand what we're talking about here, because this isn't this isn't a gotcha situation where only some like that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make people understand. So I thought that's what we should do. So that's what I tried
um
to do.
were you like newly vegan at that point? Were you like pretty recently having become vegan?
Mm, somewhere between 6 to 8 months. The timeline
Six
is
to
kind of
okay.
crazy.
I would say that's pretty recent. So I'm wondering just because I was just having a conversation with Danny Ishai about this, about like the getting in that vegan. bubble, and I'm wondering if, you were witnessing people who had been in that vegan bubble a little bit too long and weren't like really connecting in the way that a more recent vegan would, because they remember what it was like to be a meat eater, and those sorts of same questions that you may have as a meat eater. Um, yeah, because I mean, now, so I've been vegan for about 8 years now, and
Wow.
some of the things that I see people like not
Bravo.
under. Oh, thank you, thank you. Some of the things that people don't understand seem like so insane to me that they don't understand this. But I have to think back and remember that I didn't know all this stuff either 8 years ago. I was completely ignorant of it, and I was in my 30s. So I mean, I um, it's just important to remember that, I think. So yeah, I feel like because you were like really recent to it, you sort of understood that a little bit better and maybe had like a better bridge towards a non-vegan. Uh
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Go ahead.
it was, it wasn't necessarily that I understood it a little bit better. It was that I think, as I said before, I had a lot of conversations with my friends debating and stuff. And I think the one thing that I did realize earlier on, before even being vegan, was that most people, they don't say that they don't understand things, and they just react. Most people just react. Conversations are just reactions for some reason, and I see that more and more these days, which is kind of what frustrates me also. Um, and I assumed, when I heard those vegan conversation, I assumed it was because maybe they just don't understand the answer. People are afraid to say that they don't understand it, or they don't understand what they're talking about. So I thought, what if we clarify this? What if we just make it stupidly simple? Like,
Mm,
just go step by step in the process for people. But I find myself, as you say, nowadays, I find myself sometimes jumping to the conclusion also, and I find myself like, you have to have patience with the person. You have to
yeah.
explain to them step by step. It's like, but we got to do that. Like, we got to understand, some people will not get it otherwise. Some people will just, it's sad to to say, it's sad to hear, but I feel like most people don't really think about, not just animals, things in general. Most people are just so preoccupied with their own life that they don't generally tend to think about anything else. And that was another thing also that I saw earlier on, was most people are, they see non-vegans as the devil or something. They were like
Mm,
AV has this idea of, I don't know if they still do nowadays, because I kind of don't do AV anymore. But they had this idea that you're you're the one, you're to blame, like pointing the finger at people. And I'm like, I'm getting, I can imagine going off from work, you go walk on the street, you see this, oh god, this horrible footage, and you're like, what's happening there, what's going on? And then this person comes to you, and then they start saying stuff like,
mm.
I don't know, chessmate at the end. They're like, oh, chessmate, you're a piece of shit. What did I'm sorry, what? It's like,
Right.
I just came from work, it's going on? I don't understand, right? So
Right.
it felt a bit weird.
Yeah, when I started activism, I was doing cubes too, and I always remember having decent conversations with people. I remember like kind of just doing my own thing. Like I was lucky
Same.
that I joined a AV group that wasn't really policing people in that kind of way. They were like watching just to make sure everything stayed on track, but it wasn't in that way of like, you didn't say this correctly, and we really didn't take that approach of like the hold people accountable thing where we kind of point the finger at them. Almost just because like you have so little time with them, like you kind of want to just connect in a way. That's not to criticize AV's approach, but it doesn't always work with certain people, is what I've found. When you had those first couple of conversations, you said you sort of fell in love with that approach. Do you remember the specific conversations and how they went? Like, do you remember the specifics?
I don't remember the specifics per se, but I do remember that it was a good conversation with a guy from Berlin who was
Mm,
like, oh shit, I didn't know about this. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know either. I just became vegan like a couple of months ago, like 6 months ago. And it's tough to watch, isn't it? That's, yeah, well, the only thing we can do, is be vegan. Like, I wasn't like trying to ask questions. I didn't know about that. So I was just kind of like telling the guy my story. That's kind of how I felt. I did the outreach back then.
Mm.
But I feel like the person was very receptive, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I get you." And I just remember giving him a card and him being so receptive to it, and I'm like, "Okay, hell yeah, well, this is actually easy. Why aren't more people doing it?" So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Have you found it to be, like, obviously you had a knack for it. Did you find it to get more difficult? Do you think you got lucky with that first person? Or have you, like, really found that that same approach kinda works with a lot of people? Obviously not everybody, but a lot of people?
Um, oh, it's so difficult to say. I found that every person has a different approach style that works for them. I found that the best way, like over up until now, the best way to be is probably assertive. It's very important that you're assertive, and that's like a line that it's very difficult for everyone to reach, because assertiveness can also sometimes come out as cocky or strict or direct or something. But like assertive is very good. It's the best word to put it.
Yeah.
And understanding also on the other person, right? So hey, if I'm telling you, this is what animals go through for you. You may not like hearing it, but that's what it is. Like sort of this is the best. But along the years, I've tried almost everything. I never strayed away from trying something new because I thought, you know, what have I got to lose? Like at some point, I was just speaking to so many people. I remember after 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 finding out how to make videos and stuff, I was then just going every day and doing outreach. And at that time, I was like, I'm only publishing the good videos anyway, so might as well try anything I want in this
Mm.
process. And yeah, what I found was if you're too lenient, people kind of don't take it seriously. They're kind of like, oh, I see what you mean. And if you're too serious, they're like, they they lock out too early. So it was all, and it's still a line I explore to this day, based on the person. But nowadays, I focus more on reading the person in front of me rather than trying to find that line, and I just let the line come directly.
You talked about how it can be tiresome, trying to stay patient with people. How have you found, like, especially if you're doing this every day and you're going to hear the same arguments over and over again, the crop deaths, plants feel pain. I know it gets frustrating for me, even just watching you
Yeah.
do it. So, what is it like? Meditation you're doing, like on the fly? Like, how are you staying calm in that moment?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to stay calm in the moment. I don't always stay calm also. I just after every conversation, it may sound silly and a little bit out there, but I just tell myself sometimes, I look at the chat and I don't even look at it. I'm just like looking in the direction, and I'm sometimes not even at the chat but somewhere else, and I'm saying to myself, nobody's judging you, although probably some people are in the chat. But I'm like, you're
Mhm.
doing your best, and um, whether that person goes vegan or not, it's not up to you. It's a very important thing that I tell myself, and you do your best, and that's all you can do. Something like that, something along those lines. So it depends on the moment, because I I tell myself something that it's like if something impacts me in the discussion, I address that as I tell it to myself. And obviously, when I come home, sometimes I cry, helps. Sometimes
Mhm.
I scream into a pillow. Sometimes I do none of those, and then I have to do it the next day or something. But yeah, there has to be some release because it is frustrating. Yeah,
Yeah, so you're expressing sometimes it's actually like very unpleasant work doing this. So what is the motivation for you to keep going? And I ask this because, like, it sounds to me like when you got into this in, like, through debates and stuff, it sounded like you said.
yeah,
So it wasn't like footage or something that you saw that was like very emotive or anything. So it's very
yeah.
intellectual based. But now you have that conviction, that core conviction that keeps you going out every day, even on those days when you want to scream into a pillow. So what is it that's driving you?
That's a tough question. I sometimes ask myself the same thing. I guess it's also, I hate to say it, but partly it's also because I made a schedule that works. works for me, and it kind of, even if I build up some tension, it also releases it. So it's like the
Mhm.
whole schedule works well. So I kind of just follow it nowadays. But there are days when I don't want to follow the schedule necessarily, but then I'm like, you know, you may not make any change today. You may just get one person to not eat, consume one meal, and that could mean one animal saved. You never know. So sometimes I tell myself that, and then I just go, and I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. That's good enough. Sometimes the motivation, exactly. I just hate injustice. Not just injustice, but this whole, nowadays I feel like more than ever, it's hard to turn on the news because of the whole stuff happening in the whole world. You see more and more injustice everywhere you look. More and more bigotry everywhere you look, and uh, I feel like the reason why I want to go out there more and more and speak up is also just to release the frustration. It's I understand, it's I do gather some frustration with talking to people, but it's also trying to make sense of the world and trying to express how shitty the world is, maybe some fucked up things or what's happening to the animals. By the way, I'm sorry, I hope I can swear.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That also kind of helps out, and the meeting with the chat, everybody, like, I'll tell you what, man, the live streams have helped my well-being so much, because people in the chat are so cool. We're like a community, we meet up, and it's part of it. It helps,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
what gets me going. It's one of the things that gets me going also. So
yeah, for sure. I have found that too, like I think starting YouTube maybe shortly after you did, and finding I think we have a lot of overlap in the same like viewers. And I mean every time I do a live stream, I can count on like 5 to 10 people that I see every time. It's very cool to see that, like
yeah.
um it's interesting when you mentioned the live streams, because that's also the opportunity to get the trolls, isn't it? And I imagine you
Oh,
reach the trolls pretty heavily when you're doing
so
that
much
sort of work.
so. Yeah.
But it sounds like that, and I like that you mentioned that this is like the source of your frustration, also the release at the same time. That's a good way of putting it, because yeah, you're frustrated with the situation with animals, but you're also doing something about it. Um, so yeah, I'm glad. I mean, maybe that's the ticket, is to make that schedule, just so that you it's like you feel like you've got to do it. I've committed to it in some ways.
In some ways it helps. Obviously, like, the schedule does help you do the things. In other ways, it also, I'm a person who constantly struggles, like, kind of, I don't know, if depression or depression like symptoms. So for me, it's helpful to have to have something to fight for also. So
Mhm.
fighting for animal rights also kind of gives me, it gives my life more purpose, and I enjoy that also. So maybe there's also a little bit of that. I don't know. It can sound a little bit selfish if you ask me, right? Like, sometimes there's people who comment on my streams and they go like hero or something, and I feel so bad when they do that, because I'm like, well, no, it's a little bit selfish on my side, isn't it? Because I kind of get things out of this, right? Like, I'm not
Mhm.
just speaking up for the animals, which is an injustice that I care about, but I'm also releasing the stress that I said. I also get to connect with the community that I enjoy. And yeah, sure, there's the trolls, which some days, but it feels a little bit like, to me, and the schedule and everything. It feels to me more like this is it's just a little bit of my identity more than I do
W-
care about the cause. I just feel like what keeps me going is the identity involved around it more than anything.
yeah, I mean, well, you would burn out probably and not continue if you didn't get some enjoyment from it or something out of it.
I'll give you that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, we have those thoughts a lot of, what we get out of this too. I mean, but the bottom line, Chip, is that you're obviously very bright, intelligent guy who's well
Thank you.
spoken. And if you had chosen a different line of work, you could be, you know, very successful at whatever you put your mind to. So it is somewhat of a selfless act that you're doing, because I mean, this is going to keep you niche. Unfortunately, animal rights is kind of niche, and um, so yeah, so give yourself some credit is what I'm saying. It's also difficult in this line of work, and I've talked about this from my previous line of work in radio and stuff, where you have put something out and you don't know the impact that you're having, and you have to sort of learn to be okay with that. And when you talk to someone on the street and then they walk away, it's not like you can follow them around and know what they've done. So a lot of times the results of your work are not going to be seen.
Yeah.
I'm sure you every now and then maybe you get a message or something from someone. Is that does that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, it
Or
does. It does.
yeah, that's nice. And but you know, a lot of times you may have changed someone's life and you don't even realize it. And for all you know, you've changed someone's life who goes on to do big things for animals too. So yeah, that's something to hang your hat on too. Um, but also just trying. I'm glad that you're sort of just okay with trying. Like I don't know if I'm gonna save an animal today or whatever, but I gave it my best, right?
What else can we do, huh?
Yeah,
It also feels like the reason why I keep bringing you up to the whole world. It just it also feels like it's a way of fighting against something, right? It's a way of making the world a little bit better. And when you see the world going a little bit shitty, you're like, well, I want to do something about it. We all feel like we want to do something about it. And
yeah,
again, it can sound selfish, but you want to do something about it. It feels good to do something about it. So just go ahead and do something about it. This fighting against the fighting for the animals is such a weird thing, though, because especially in the vegan community, right? I like there's the great vegan community, but there's the vegan community, the people who are like, you're not vegan enough, and
right,
the
right,
people who are like, you're too vegan or something. I don't know, like it's just a whole weird mix of people there.
yeah,
um but it's hard to remember that when we the injustices towards animals, it's not about us or the vegan movement and anything. And
yeah,
it's an injustice that we don't see. It's an injustice that you don't experience every day. From time to time you see some videos, and for me personally, those videos, while they do remind me, they also make me sick. I never liked seeing those videos. They make me sick, and they make me feel not just even powerless, but like I whenever I see one of those videos, I intentionally have to focus to not empathize, because I easily empathize with any individual.
mm,
um so it's hard to measure that injustice. It's very hard to feel to fight like I would if I saw somebody on the street having an issue, right? To be like, oh, this is an injustice. So
yeah,
I just attack it more logically, more like, I know this is injustice. I know that my work can do something, so I just go out there and do it and trust that it will do something.
hmm,
um and that also, while that makes me do more, at the same time it also creates this doubt in my head, because I don't see the result, because I'm like, some days the reason why I'm so down is because I'm like, am I doing the right thing? The trolls are saying, look at this, you're doing a shitty job.
mm.
And they can't get to you. So
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah, and like you said, sometimes you'll get it from the trolls, sometimes you'll get it from your own community as well, and that's
yeah.
always tough when that happens. Um, you know, when I went vegan, I felt suddenly empowered because I was caring previous to that so much about climate change and, like you said, injustice in just in general. And I felt really powerless to do something about that. And then when I discovered, oh, you know, actually just with my meal choices, I can be fighting like it's an active protest 3 times a day. That felt empowering. But then, yeah, you come up against the reality of the situation where it's like, okay, I'm vegan now. Also, vegan's not enough. Like, I have to also use my voice and fight out, fight against this. The the downside of being in a small movement is that it can feel powerless. The upside of being in a small movement is that your voice is so much more important in a way, because there are so few people doing this. Um, and like when you're doing it in Amsterdam, which I guess is a big city, so I'm sure there are like a lot of other activists, but I'm not sure. I mean, you're the most prominent one I think that I see. Um, so I mean, you're part of this like global struggle, but you're kind of the voice for Amsterdam in a way, right? Like in some
I
ways.
I try to be. There's a place where, like, if I go in front of the Rijksmuseum, the museum where I usually used to go to,
Yeah.
um, I mean, if I go there every day, for sure, somebody will say hello to me because I've spoken to them already.
Oh, nice, nice.
Dutch people are creatures of habit, as most people are, so they'll pass on. If they passed on once and saw me, they probably will pass again.
Mm,
There is a guy that I constantly see everywhere I go. Like, for some reason, this guy just walks all around Amsterdam or something. Whose whole motivation is whose whole motivation, who says there are no such thing as morals, and then
mm,
he has this whole you can do whatever you want type of situation, but he wouldn't actually do some of the things. And he constantly,
right.
whenever he passes by me, he's like, there are no morals. I kind of had to earn his respect because he just kept coming every time and saying dumb stuff. And at some point, I just had to debate him, and I had to debate him like 3 times until he was like, "Okay, you're smart. Let's." And he moved on,
Mm,
whatever that meant.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of activists in Amsterdam. I think a lot of activists here, though, they don't really do it online as much as I do. I don't
Mm,
know why. I told everyone it's a good thing to do,
mm,
but I
mm.
I think people are just more private here than they are everywhere else for some reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you put it online, then you're reaching even more people, which is great. And then I think
Yeah,
another benefit, you doing it in Amsterdam, which is a city that attracts people from all over the world. So
yeah,
I've noticed a lot of your videos will be with Americans or with whoever, people from all over the place. So yeah, it's fertile ground, isn't it? Like it's a really good place to be. And I think when people come to Amsterdam as tourists, I think maybe they're looking for their mind to be influenced in some ways or changed because they're open, like open to new experiences, new ideas, that sort of thing. I don't know if
yeah.
that's true or not, but
Well, part of the reason, I remember when Skyjack Morgan was doing vegan content only, and he said one very interesting thing to me, which I never realized, but that's actually kind of true. I go into the tourist areas because that's just where most of the people are. And I
mhm,
can just imagine that some people, they remember their trips to Europe. They remember their trips to, like, hey, look, I remember that time we walked in Amsterdam. And I think it's such a good thing to have to have these conversations with those people, because then they're like, oh, I remember that time we went to Amsterdam and we spoke to that vegan guy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
even if they don't change, maybe, in that moment they're like, ah, shit, why didn't we change? I remember the feeling I had then or something, like, and that's why also I created this card, which is you're supposed to find it or something easily. Actually, somebody contacted me on Instagram and said that they had a conversation with me like 6 months ago or something.
hmm
And they showed me the card. I couldn't find the person because they couldn't remember the date specifically. And I'm like, I don't know. I have a lot of conversations. Um, so they did still have the card 6 months after, 6 months after. So I'm like, okay, well, it seems like there is something there to be said. Whether they change or not, I think it will depend on the person, depend
hmm
on the mood. And obviously, when you're on vacation, you're like not necessarily interested in change per se. And it kind of feels like when you go back home, you're back to normal or something, to your own normal.
right,
Um,
right,
but I do think that it has the power to change some minds, like, and not just because of me, but the city itself. It's a one of a kind city.
yeah,
It's You see that people bike everywhere, you see that people walk everywhere, and it kind of feels like, well, this can be a different way of living. It
yeah,
Like, why? And I remember every time I used to visit Amsterdam before even living here. Every time I would visit Amsterdam, when I would come back home to Bucharest, I would be like, I'm just going to use my bike from now on. So it always leaves an influence on you. So I try to remember that, hey, maybe the people who speak to me, they're like, I'm just going to use my bike from now on. I'm just going to try only plant based from now on. And, maybe one will stick. I hope the plant based one. Fuck the bike. I also hope the bike.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Biking is good also.
Fuck the
But no,
bike.
biking is good. Biking is
Yeah,
good. I
no,
love
it's good.
biking. But yeah, I mean, it's more important. The plant based one is more important. So
Yeah,
one
that's
can only
definitely more
hope.
impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. And yeah, I mean, like you said, when people come to this place, it's known as being like this kind of like an incredible city. they're hopefully having kind of like a magical experience, and they're like, I'm sure you have a lot of experiences with people like visiting the city who are like just like, oh, it's so amazing that I met you, like, or it's like,
I have had
they
that.
find it,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's almost like spiritual for them, like stars aligning. um yeah, and those people are like really looking for like signs. And I love the vegan sticker or something that you can find if you're looking for a sign to go vegan, this is it. Because I think a lot of people are kind of looking for just those like moments of like, oh, now it's time to change. I've been thinking about this. I should do it.
You know, in Amsterdam, there's these. This is something that you don't find everywhere. These urinals, public urinals on the street. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of
Oh
them.
no, no, I haven't.
So there's like these. They're kind of like a spiral. If you look from the top, they're kind of like a spiral. So
Yeah.
you kind of enter this thing, and in the spiral itself is just like a wall you pee on as a guy, so that authorities just so that people, the guys just pee on buildings. So they're like, well, just let's just build them these. They'll at least they'll pee on these. And inside of them, people put stickers inside of these things. And the ones around the museum where I do activism and where a lot of people do activism, there's like three. All of them are full of vegan stickers. They're just like full
Nice.
of them. You
Yeah.
go in, it's like fish feel pain. Don't forget the cow is a mother.
Yeah.
Milk is murder. All of them. It's like, oh, it's perfect. It's just like you
Yeah.
pee and you're like, ah, shit, I gotta go vegan now.
Yeah, nobody's gonna admit that their story is like, I was taking a piss and I I saw that
Imagine if
sticker.
that happened. I
I
was
know.
on a trip in
They,
Amsterdam. I
yeah.
wanted to take a piss. There was this public urinal. Like, you have to explain the whole story about the public urinal, which most people don't get. And they're like,
Yeah.
that's where I realized I had to go vegan.
I mean, I love the bathroom stickers, and because it's like a captive audience, like somebody's in there, they're like, if they're going number two, like they might be sitting in there for a little bit too. They're like, oh, well, there's some reading material. Oh, there's a QR code, and it sends me to Dominion.
That's a good one. I never realized that, but you're right. That's a very good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like and for people like looking for activism, talk about like a low key, like low stress form of activism, like putting up a sticker in a bathroom is nobody's going to see you. And it's a message that stays after you go. It's pretty cool.
It
Um
is.
yeah, and the fact that you're mentioning these stickers in this square in Amsterdam indicates that they're staying up like for a considerable time. Like they're not getting cleaned out by the sanitation people or whoever. So who knows how many people? And I imagine like these stickers and sort of like messaging and stuff is probably not the one that gets them to go all the way vegan, but it might get them close. And then they come out of there and then they talk to you, and then it's like, well, that's a double whammy.
I think it's another reminder also, right?
Yeah,
It's like maybe you've had a conversation with an activist. Um, maybe you're just going for dinner or something, because there's also a lot of dinner like restaurants around,
yeah,
and maybe you just go take a pee and then you're like, ah, shit, I remember this now. Yeah, maybe
yeah,
maybe I should try, or either way, maybe even if it makes you feel guilty and maybe that sparks something within you. I do think they're very valuable. The reminder is like, I don't know if you know Miss Katie's, that vegan
yeah,
teacher's thing. She
yeah,
says that a person needs a couple a certain amount of clicks until they go vegan,
yeah,
and I think like that's actually a click. That's a
yeah.
click. You go there, you get a reminder. That is if you had a conversation, if you had something, like if you're new to it and you see it. I don't know how much it will mean to you, but like if you had a
Mhm.
conversation before, it will definitely be meaningful.
Yeah, and especially if it's like, I like messaging that's sort of like a fact that maybe you didn't know. Like, there are some like that are just kind of make you think. I often think about like dairy separating babies from their mothers because um, that kind of makes you like, if you're not even thinking about animals, you're like, what are you talking about? Like human baby? Like they're thinking, like they have to like think and dive into it, and then maybe it'll send them down some kind of rabbit hole of
Yeah,
looking things up. I guess that's the hope. I mean, if people, yeah, if people are motivated to like go to a documentary or something after seeing something like that, then you can only hope. But yeah, yeah, Miss Katie had that 100 point system, which I think I mean, I don't know if it's, the number obviously isn't, exact or anything, but it gets you to
yeah.
think that yes, people like need multiple kind of hits, basically clicks, as she put it. Um,
Yeah, but like I agree with her. I just do think there has to be at least one of them has to be meaningful before all of, like I think people need a certain amount of clicks since they had a meaningful one.
mm,
Because I do remember when I wasn't vegan, that I was walking through uh, I forgot the name of the city, whatever, through
mm,
a city in Europe, and there was AV there, and they were showing footage. And I remember my girlfriend at the time, we were looking, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then this AV person comes, and I just remember when that AV person came to us, I'm like, "Well, let's just get out of this conversation. It's just what the hell are we doing?"
oh, so
I don't wanna
you
yeah,
encountered it before.
I encountered AV before, and I was on the other side, and I do remember the like feeling of like I don't, but I just want to know what this is about. I don't want to talk to a stranger. You know, like a
Hmm.
lot. We forget a lot of people don't really like interacting with strangers, which is valid.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I should do something like that. Maybe I should put a QR code on one of my signs. Let me write that down. Actually, now that that's it,
Oh
so
yeah,
that
yeah. Or
people
just
when they see
something.
it, they,
Yeah, there you go. Like maybe it goes sends them to some, it could send them to a doc or, but
yeah,
yeah, that would be cool. But you're right. Yeah, I think that, like I said, how our AV cubes weren't always so strict. There would be times when I would see like somebody's just watching the screen or something, and in a way they'd be left alone, which wasn't really like, we were like sort of instructed, somebody go talk to that person, go talk to that person. But I mean, you can kind of read a situation and maybe kind of determine that this person really doesn't want to talk. They want to watch the screen, which honestly is the goal, right? I mean, like I always thought it was the main thing is just that they see what's going on. So I would always like, if I was holding the TVs, I'd always be like turning them towards the people. Because
it's funny.
yeah, go ahead.
It's funny because I understand the perspective on the side of activists, but every time I have that memory, oh, it was in Belgrade. Every time I have that
Right.
memory of Belgrade and of seeing the AV, I also remember how meaningless the person that we spoke to. Like I don't even remember anything from that conversation. I do
Mm,
remember feeling like this person really wants to talk to us, and just feeling like I wanted to leave,
mm,
but I don't remember the conversations. I do remember the footage. That's why I remember it's AV. I remember the footage. I remember the masks. I remember everything else.
yeah.
And I don't remember it being meaningful to me because I couldn't see any of the footage. I remember seeing a little bit of the footage. I remember seeing like an art thing, which was like, because with the masks and everything, and it felt like an art thing. And I'm like, I like art things. I'm curious what this is about. But then because that person came to speak to me, I remember also feeling like I I never got to see what it was. So I only
Mm,
remembered that it was AV long after being an activist.
uh, so in a
So
way, like the activists kind of distracted you.
it kind of did. It kind of That's also why I wrote down the QR code thing now,
Mm,
because I'm just realizing that maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe part of the issue of this form of street outreach is that people just don't want to interact with people. Maybe they want to learn, they want to know more, but maybe they just don't want to interact with people. And I'm one. There's several
mhm.
people like that who just they want to go about their day. Maybe they've already interacted with people. Their social battery is drained. They just want to scan a QR code, read about it, and move on.
Yeah,
And maybe that
totally.
actually, maybe they don't become vegan by watching that. Like I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have gone vegan then,
Mm,
but I do think it would have been a more meaningful click had I actually read something about what was going on there, if I knew what was going on there, because I didn't. I remember some gruesome content, and I thought it was something about war,
mm.
which was it's interesting, right? Because I just saw some blood and stuff,
Right,
and
right.
and I then I we moved on. But I still think AV is valuable. I still think, because being on the other side, I'm like, it's extremely valuable for people who maybe have had a click already, like people who have had a meaningful conversation already. I think AV is perfect. Like if you could ask me how I would do it, is I would have a conversation like I have, like a softer conversation maybe with people on the street, and then have a harder conversation with AV maybe a week after that conversation.
Mhm.
And then I think that would be a better solution. Of Depends on the person, but That's
Yeah.
kind of how I would see the most ideal, because I think you need somebody to kind of soften you in, and then somebody to to straighten you out, something like that, you know. So
Yeah. I have a friend who had mentioned that very not that long ago, in the last couple of years, and this is long after the AV group had been disbanded, had was like eating vegan food, and they were striking up a conversation, and somehow it came up like how they went vegan. They were like, "Oh yeah, there was this group of people who like had masks on, and I walked by." So they were describing the AV cube, and that was what turned them vegan. So I mean, it definitely is valuable. It definitely
that's
works.
cool.
I mean, yeah, I mean, th- it's impossible to know like all the metrics and stuff. It's the same thing because it's so individual. It depends on who the outreacher was. It depends on what was showing on the screen at the time when they walked by. I mean, maybe it was the time when the male chicks were getting macerated, and that really struck a nerve for them or something, you know. But it's all
it's
dependent.
it's funny because I just remember I had another interaction with being on the other side of AV, but different. So when I was 20, exactly 20,
Mm,
maybe 21, very, very young. My girlfriend at that time, she came home one evening and she said she's vegan from now on. Uh,
nice.
yeah, and she was the one who was doing the cooking. I wasn't cooking at the time.
Mm,
Now, after her was actually that I started learning to cook.
mm.
And I remember just being like, "Oh, that's so fucking annoying that she became vegan."
Yeah.
I remember being like, "Oh, how? Why are you vegan now?" But then she started cooking vegan food. Like she used soy chunks from the beginning,
Hmm.
and I remember thinking like, "Holy shit, these taste like meat. They taste amazing. Why?"
Yeah.
Like I never felt a difference. Obviously, after she left, I didn't really continue myself because we broke up like not long after for different reasons.
Hmm.
But I just remember being so annoyed by the fact that she was vegan, and I do remember a couple of times telling her to not be vegan because it's unhealthy or something. It was so
That's
stupid.
hilarious.
Yeah,
If
that's
she could
sad to
only
be on
see
the
you,
other
I'm
side.
sure, yeah, it'd be interesting to for her to see you now and be like, "Ah, you remember Chip?" Yeah. It's funny,
Yeah.
like, I had the same experience, like, not with a woman I was dating, but with women I went on first dates with because where I was, I guess, was like a hotbed of vegans, and, so I went on 2 first dates with women who were vegan, and I remember being annoyed by that too, even though they didn't even push it on me at all. Like they didn't even talk about it. But I just remember thinking, oh, this is limiting. Where are we going to go? That kind of thing. And
That's how
I'm
I felt.
embarrassed. I remember asking one of them, like, do you mind if I get like chicken wings or something and eating them in front of her and just like having no clue. Like now looking back at that, I just like, I actually wish she was hard on me. Like she just let me do that. She should have been like, no, don't like, but I guess, maybe she was plant-based. I have no idea because I would
Yeah,
have used the opportunity probably myself.
I
Um,
get that. I agree with you. When you said I wish she was harder on me, I guess I wish my ex at the time kind of showed me the footage. Like I
yeah.
feel like if I had seen it, I would have gotten a lot more understanding of what got her.
Hmm.
But I didn't, and I just thought it was like a fad or something in my head. It's like annoying. It's like she just doesn't want to eat animals. What the hell's wrong with her? What do you mean? It's like a health thing or something? So
Hmm.
yeah, I felt the same thing, restricting as you say, and I never had to ask if I can buy something. I would
Hmm.
just buy it, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, I do share that thing, and I am also kind of ashamed by it.
Yeah, but I mean, like all we can do is like what we can do now. But yeah, it is interesting, like, and it just reminds me too, like when I don't speak up because I don't want to deal with discomfort or whatever, that I may have just done someone a disservice. Obviously the animals, but um that person as well may have like really appreciated that in that moment. It's also like, I don't know if you feel this way. I feel this way. It's like also just, especially with people you date, like when you bring up veganism, animal rights, it's such a great character test. Like depending on how they respond, like if they respond in a negative way, that may be the person to move on from anyway.
I don't even try to interact with non-vegans anymore in the dating scene. I
Yeah.
try to, and whenever I ask, "Are you vegan?" they're like, "No," and then I ask, "Okay, but it says that you're an animal lover. How can you love animals and kill them too?" And they just get so triggered when I ask.
And
Like,
then that's it.
I got blocked 3 times by
Oh,
three
like
girls for the
dating app
same reason.
kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because someone said they were
Yes.
an animal lover. Yeah.
Yeah, like what do you mean? You're an animal lover, either animal lover or feminist or something
Mhm.
about Palestine. All three of them. I'm like, well, you care about justice, right? What about this justice? What about
Yeah.
justice for them? And they all got really, really triggered, and they said, "Asshole, fuck you," or something. I'm
Mhm.
reporting you, and I think I got reported, not just blocked, but reported.
Yeah. I think, I try to understand that psychology. I think it's because they care about justice. They say they do, and they're not used to being confronted because they
Yeah.
feel like they're checking all the boxes already. They're a good person, good person, good person. Oh, but you're doing this thing. Like it's they're not used to being confronted about something. It's possible that this confrontation that you have with them can like be something that they ruminate on down the road. I don't
That would be
know.
funny. That would
Yeah.
be interesting, huh? That would be an interesting thing. It would be funny if somebody just unblocks me and is like, "Hey, I'm vegan now." That would be like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, that's cool.
That'd be cool. Um,
Yeah.
you strike me as pretty confident in the way that you speak. But you said like when you started, you recorded that first outreach, you didn't have the confidence to release it. Um, I'm wondering how you got the confidence, like, but also like, do you ever go back to that original footage and do you think it was actually not very good, or what do you think?
I don't think it wasn't necessarily very good. It was very long. I think
Mm,
it was very I got distracted a lot. I remember it took like an hour and a half of conversation, which is
uh,
very long.
yeah,
And I remember kind of listening back to it and just because I had to edit it, and then I'm just like hearing how I get distracted and distracted and distracted. And I do remember from that moment that this is a very important part that I just have to stay on track a lot of times. I still get distracted even nowadays, like as we all do, but not nearly as much as I was. Like back then, I was just like assuming good intent. I'm like
uh,
speaking to someone, and I don't think the person were intentionally distracting me, but I think their mind was doing the same thing. I want to evade responsibility, so they're kind of distracting from the conversation.
yeah,
So
yeah,
from discussing animals, I remember we ended up discussing the best farm possible or something like that, and how
mm,
there is because the whole person was just trying to make the point that there is a situation when you're not an animal abuser if you consume animal products, because my my poster was saying if you're not vegan you're an animal abuser, something like that. You
mhm,
support animal abuse. And I got inspired by Joey's videos, and I think this person was just trying to prove that wrong, and was just trying to find a situation where you somehow consume animal products because he thought being not vegan meant you can't consume animal products.
yeah,
um so he was trying to find a situation where, you see, I'm in this necessary situation where I consume animal products, so I'm not vegan. Therefore, you see, I'm not in a, like, it, and it just ended up like a long conversation. And I remember, because I would also kind of not understand all the arguments in that place, I was also kind of making up my mind as I was going then. And afterwards, I just had to learn a lot more myself about it. And
yeah.
I don't think there was ChatGPT back then. Mm,
Mm. Well, that's one of those benefits where you can watch yourself back and like self-critique and
yeah.
all that by doing YouTube. That's one reason that people ought to put their content out there or make content, I think. It's just the ability to hear and see yourself and realize some of your tendencies. I think back to radio. I always had these like go-to phrases, words that I would say all the time. I think I'd always say, "Yeah," I always say, "Oh, yeah." Like, I will just hear things that I repeatedly say to the point that it's annoying, and you're not thinking in that way. So, yeah, just being able to watch back.
Oh.
but
I
also you,
remember, I
yeah.
remember you. Sorry, I'm sorry. I remember doing this. I
Uh,
don't know why I did that a lot for some reason. And I actually spoke to a person recently who does the same. And I'm like, I think it's just a tick that some people develop over time.
mm,
And I remember also hearing that at some point in my conversations. And then I had to work on that and be like, oh, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I essentially everything that the activist that I am today, I had to work on it. I wasn't always like this, right? When
mm,
people say I'm good or collected or I have the right words, it's because I worked on it most of the times.
yeah.
I did have some good arguments at the beginning, and as I discussed with you, I did have kind of an idea of where I want to go, but I had to work on the improv of it because there's a lot of
Yeah.
improv in it.
I think you like I love your first example too, just because I think that's what happened to me in the beginning too, was just getting derailed from the conversation and allowing it to go on too long. Um, Rather than like sort of cutting your losses. Some like do you sometimes give up on someone? And I know you don't give up on them as a human, but you're like, well, there's all these other people I could be talking to right now. This one has kind of run its course. It's not really that valuable anymore.
I do. I just do it
Yeah.
in a more subtle way nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't just like there's rarely there was a conversation that I actually today I worked on some of my videos and there was a conversation that ended with just telling a person, okay, bye, and then I left.
Nice.
But otherwise, no, not really. A lot of the times I'm just like, well, okay, well that's a contradiction. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. That's
We
my
should
way of saying fuck off.
we should at the end of this, just as a
Yeah.
joke, you just be like, "Okay, bye." Just
Okay, bye. Just enough.
um, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, well, I'm glad you are sort of still honing that craft because it's really good. So do you leave a lot on the cutting room floor? Like you said you like a lot of times you'll post like the better conversations, but I know you go live for like hours at a time too. So I mean everything's getting out there at that point.
Not now.
What's that now?
Not not anymore. No, not
Not
any. I don't
anymore.
cut. So I do leave some conversations out, but not because they're bad or something, but rather because maybe there's a language barrier and that the conversation is just like
Uh,
2 or 3 minutes. There's no reason to publish that. Nobody wants to watch that.
yeah.
Maybe the person runs away very fast. Also, sometimes if they run away very fast, I try to make a short out of it because it's kind of fun.
Mhm.
Um, but most of the times I just publish everything even if it's bad conversations because I do think that the bad conversations incentivize more people to see that, hey, we all make mistakes, we all do
Yeah.
say stupid stuff, none of us are perfect, and I do think that that helps other activists get more active.
Mm.
um and I also don't want to, it also involves so much work for me to select the conversations now. So I'm just I'm just going through a conversation. I know I kind of want to publish one for my main channel. I also have a secondary channel where I publish all of them. And the ones for my main channel, I'm just going and remembering, oh, I remember this guy. It was a good conversation. Oh, I remember this. It was kind of spicy. Just select that rant in some way or another, and then I publish them.
Yeah.
I don't even listen to the conversation anymore.
But if you waited until you got to a point where you thought, "Oh, this is like perfect," before you started, you'd never start. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that you publish some of the stuff so that yeah, people get the message. Yeah, it's not perfect. And in fact, there's never a perfect conversation. Like, I mean, I've never seen a perfect outreach video from anyone. Because there's always little things you could do differently. But
And
you
what
just
is a perfect outreach? Is it that the person goes vegan? Because there's a lot of that. Is it
mhm,
that the person brings up more valid arguments and you reply in a good way? Is it that the person doesn't bring up any arguments but wants to go vegan? Is it that they get super informed about everything and then they just take everything for granted? Is it that they get triggered very fast by something that's very logical, right? Like it's hard to say what the perfect conversation for outreach is because I think all of these are valuable. Even somebody getting triggered is like a good conversation. It's something that gets more people thinking.
yeah. What do you think about the trolls and the live streams? Do you think that they're I mean, I know a lot of them are just like blowing off steam and I don't think they're really there to actively engage in like a serious way, but do you think that some of these trolls are actually engaging with the content and maybe getting the message?
There are some trolls that I've noticed by going to vegan streams. I've noticed that they go from stream to stream. They go to old streams. And after repeated coming to my channel, I blocked them recently, especially after, I don't know if you know, but Google now has this Gemini thing on in the studio, and
Right.
you can ask it about things. And I asked specifically that if I keep blocking trolls or people who keep not being nice on my channel, even if there's like hundreds of them, will my channel get less viewers or something? And Gemini said no. So okay, that's a thumbs up for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning now, and I'm constantly just blocking the people that are coming to my channel just to troll. And some of them, if they behave nicely and they kind of see them changing or asking questions or doing something, I let them be. But the ones who are just trolling on and maybe 3 or 5 times, I block
Fake
them. And
emojis. Yeah.
yeah, well, I already banned all the meat emojis, so nobody can do meat emojis on my streams anymore.
They're like, damn
But
it. Damn it.
I do think they get triggered by that. I think that they're like that they praised it, and then like YouTube's like, no, you're not allowed to praise that. But
their go-to.
some of them do attack. Like, there's a lot of people who attack me, like for some reason, and like
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like it's just I have to learn to deal with it a little bit more, because it does affect me. But they attack me so much in streams, and sometimes I see some people repeatedly come and attack me, and especially in the same way too. Like, you can attack me once and I address your concern. But if you just repeat it, it just feels like you're just here to you have a problem with me or something. So I think of it as like setting you free, just go about your day, mind your business, and I'll mind mine. So that's how I deal with trolls essentially nowadays.
I think you're getting people attacking you because your channel's having some success, and your live streams will reach a number of people. I think it's actually a good sign that you're getting trolls because you're reaching beyond the vegan sphere. I always consider, like, when it's just supporters there, sometimes, and while that's great, I mean, it fosters community and it keeps people feeling more uplifted, then it didn't really reach beyond that. I've also sort of come to the conclusion that at least my channel is more not a channel for non-vegans. It really is a channel for vegans and activists. So that's where I've landed, which is good. So I actually don't encounter the trolls very often. But when I do, I just try to have fun with them and make light of what they're saying. And
that's good.
Yeah. It's kind of like all you can do in a way. But yeah,
the way they behave is insane to me. Like,
yes,
honest to God, like if you read some of the things I get, I'm like, who's like, and since Trump is president, I hate to say this, but I get not just hate comments towards me. I get racist, bigotry, sexist, all types of trolls, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? What's going on with you people? Like, who goes into? I can imagine this person is just like taking their phone, scrolling on board, and then it's like, he's vegan. I have a good idea. What if an N word, R word, everything B word? I feel better now. Like, I can't imagine what kind of person does that. Like, who in their right mind? Like, I just can't.
I think you nailed it. I think regarding Trump, I think a lot of people are emboldened to be able to speak out in that kind of way. And then they're like doubly emboldened by the anonymity of being on the internet. And don't you notice this about a lot of the trolls, especially when they make comments about someone's physical appearance, which a lot of them do. A lot of the almost universally, those are people who don't even have a photo to show themselves. Yeah, it's a lot of like insecurity and weakness. But I find it baffling because a lot of the things that I've tuned in for, you'll see the person, like you said, they'll be there. Like they don't just come and troll for like a minute and then move on with their day. Like they're there for like the hour. It's like,
I
my God.
I get that, like, I get that sometimes I'm thinking some things, some people are just kids or joining in. I was like, oh, say some stupid stuff. But some trolls, you're right, they troll like just a hour, like 2 or 3 hours, and they
Yeah.
constantly say the same thing over and over for 2 or 3 hours. It's like not the same comment per se, because then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just a bot or something. But sometimes they go directly, they respond to what you're saying, and they go even deeper, and they get so upset that, like, I have had trolls where in my streams from the beginning to end for at least five of my streams, and they
Yeah.
still were as upset the fifth stream as they were in the first. And I'm like, what the hell's going on, man? Like,
Yeah.
why? Well, what's with this hate? Like, what is it that you hate so much?
Hmm.
Oh, but they are consuming. They're like, especially when they nowadays they're just so time consuming, because every single thing that they like, you have when you're an animal rights activist, you have to be perfect on camera. You
Mm.
can't make any mistake, and the one mistake that you make, they will latch on to that forever, like forever, like genuinely they'll drop it in my comments. They'll like, and I remember making one mistake about something statistic. They kept bringing it up on and
Mhm.
on and on, and I was like, oh shit. So
Yeah.
it's just what is this? Is this like, this is the most childish behavior ever? This is not why I'm here. I'm not here for you to dunk on me, or that I dunk on me making mistakes. I make mistakes. Everyone does. I'm here to speak up for them. I'm here to speak up for justice. Can you just focus? They
Hmm.
can't.
Hmm.
Never. They never can.
Yeah, I wonder what motivates that. I don't know the psychology behind it, and sometimes you would think like some of them are just like meat industry people or something, but not always. Obviously, like probably the majority are just like, yeah, probably like you said, young people who have nothing better to do. But interestingly, I have a buddy who went vegan intending to troll an Earthling Ed video, and then ended up liking what Ed had to say, and then like becoming a great activist from that. So
Oh,
I
that's
guess,
amazing.
yeah, the trolls can like, they can come around, I suppose. They can. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ban them from my second channel. I banned some of them for my own mental health. I'm like, I
Right.
know that some can come around, but I'm also like, bro,
Yeah.
I need some space. Just
Right.
like, and the problem isn't necessarily like, I feel like the problem with the trolls isn't the trolling itself, is the insistence
Hmm.
that kind of makes me, hey, take a break. Just take a
Yeah.
break, okay? Like you this insisting, like some people, they, how you see maybe like five comments when you're live, maybe
Hmm.
five
Hmm.
comments of people. There's some people who are so insistent that they drop a comment, drop another comment, that there's always there's always a comment of theirs in that chat.
Hmm.
And it's not like and it's always a variation of the same thing: crop deaths, or I like meat, or you're never gonna change people. And
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, just take a break. Just take a break from keep on
Hmm.
typing this. Like, what are you doing? What And these people, I tend to think that they're not even listening. I tend to think a lot of the times they're just there to
Well,
uh
and what kind of
gaslight.
sucks is some of the people who are actually there to watch the content, or in some cases, the other vegans will be engaging with that person. I feel like in some ways, like it's distracted them from like watching the actual content, which is okay. I mean, there's no rule against like how you consume YouTube or how you use YouTube, but like say you're doing great outreach with someone and everybody's arguing in the chat with the meat troll. Yeah, they're missing completely the conversation that you're having, and someone in there who's curious about it also might be getting distracted, or catching strays, like especially like because a lot of times, and one thing that I've noticed, like sometimes there are actually genuinely curious people, but they'll ask a question and we're so primed to think this is a troll that we jump all over them, like, and like, no, I was just like literally asking, what, don't plants feel pain? Like, I know that's generally a troll question, but
It
some
does,
people
yeah.
really believe this.
It's one of the reasons why I also banned some of them, because I
Yeah.
find myself doing the same thing. You end up kind of snapping at people because you're like, well,
Right.
you you're just a troll, and you end up doing the same thing that they do. You kind of attack
Mm,
the person instead of the argument, and it
right.
just becomes a whole thing. And I still find myself doing that sometimes, and I don't like it. Like I caught myself doing that today, and I was like, when I came home, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't like that. I need to work on that. So I don't know how to work on that just yet, but I'll find
Yeah.
a way to work on that, because you're right about that. There's some people who are genuinely interested, who genuinely want to know, and I also don't think it necessarily looks good to open up a chat and just see everyone hating on the person in the chat. Like,
Mm,
you're like, no matter how much you agree with that person, just seeing everyone hating in that on the chat, you're like, what the hell? What's is
yeah.
this for real? Am I like, is this person saying, like, did this person did something wrong? What, like, it just confuses you more than anything. And even if you agree with the message, because of the confusion, you may not accept the message. So one more reason to ban them if they're actually
Yeah.
being naughty.
Right. Yeah, I've done it in the past too, where I've engaged too much. And at the time, it's like you're trying to defend the person who's doing the activism, but then it can just become too much. Like I said, distracting from what they're actually doing, their work. Um, so yeah, it's too bad. Um, when you look back at your all your outreach, are there some particular conversations that stand out to you that you like think back fondly to? And if so, like what was it that made them special or notable?
I think the best conversations that I've had were the ones where I kind of, as I was going through the conversations, I had epiphanies about the person in front of me, or the way to attack certain arguments. Those are those are good conversations. Can I name them specifically? Not necessarily. I
Mm,
do remember having a really good conversation with a guy from US that was highly logical conversation. It was about consent, and they kind of got the whole animal rights and animal consent and everything. I don't think he went vegan, like, looking at the conversation back, because I recently have seen it recently. Um, but I did remember enjoying the conversation a lot with him.
mm,
Um, there are some conversations that I enjoy. I do enjoy, especially if I see somebody who's more scientifically focused, somebody who kind of challenges me but also listens. I do enjoy those conversations a lot. I don't particularly like the ones that I get challenged in a way. Like, there was a guy once who, I was wearing sunglasses, and I tend to have, like, genetically, I get these under eye things.
mm.
It's just my dad has them. It's a genetic thing. Especially if I eat a little bit more salt, instantly next day it sucks. Um,
I don't know what you're referring to. Just like, bags. Is that what you mean? Just sort of
yeah,
like
bags
bags on.
under
Oh,
eyes.
I
Yeah,
see. I
yeah.
see.
And I was speaking to this person, and like, I was making valid arguments, and then essentially he just resorted to, like, oh, well, take off your glasses, or take off your cap. And I'm like, I shave my head these days. I'm like, I don't even have hair. And,
Hmm.
like, take off your glasses, um or show us your hair. I was like, oh, come on, this argument again. Like, why are people attacking my looks? Like, I'm insecure about my looks. I'll admit it. I'm like, I guess I'm an acquired taste. I'm like, I'm not ugly. I know I'm not ugly. I know I'm not beautiful. I'm just like somewhere there where once you kind of see it, you kind of see it. If you don't, you don't. It's kind of one of those situations.
Mm,
And I'm like, I'm fine with that. It's actually where I want to be, but it's just, in these situations it kind of sucks, because in these situations people will look at me, and also the trolls do that in the chat a lot, and it's like, well, you look old, you look ugly, you look, bro, what is this? Why are you attacking me? Like, I'm not enjoying this conversation anymore. Have I been attacking your looks? Have I been telling you you look fat or something? Like, I'm
mhm,
buff as fuck. Like, I look good naked. I'm like, am I attacking how you look like, which is the one thing you actually can control? Because I can't control how I look like how my face looks like. You can control how your body looks like. I'm not attacking you by that. So I
Mhm.
just dislike it. It's in bad taste. So those are the conversations that I really dislike, and it only happened once on the street that way. Never happened on the street specifically. It does happen a lot on Discord and obviously in the chat.
Mhm.
And the conversations that I enjoy the most are the people who are just open-minded, just um, women in general more than men. Men become very emotional. That's so fucking weird.
That's funny.
Yeah, because the men are the ones who are like with their if you consider ego and emotional, at least I
Yeah.
kind of do. Then men
Right.
are highly emotional. It's just the most emotional beings ever.
Yeah.
But most women are like so nice, and there's some women who are like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. Oh yeah, like there's just, you can see sometimes when it kind of clicks with people, and
Mhm.
whether they go vegan or not, again, I have no way of knowing. But I do love the conversations when you kind of see the click in the person, and
Mhm.
whatever they do going forward, that click still remains. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's those are the conversations I really enjoy. When I see that click, when we vibe to the end, when at the end of it, like there's very, very rarely people say thank you to me. And when people say thank you to me, I'm like, oh, that's a absolutely great sign, and I'm thankful
Mhm.
for having this conversation. If somebody says thank you to me, okay, you got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, personal insults, like, they're just, they're like a last resort, right? Like you've run out of like your arsenal's dry, you got nothing left. So you can always remember that. Also, I was going to say, I don't think you need me to butter you up about this, but you do look good. Like you
Thank
obviously hit
you.
the gym, and yeah, and when I started doing YouTube, like I said, I came from a radio background, so I could hear my voice and all that, but I had to start
Yeah,
like looking at myself. And I mean, I feel like it's another like life lesson. Like I also know, like, and you don't need to throw any compliments at me, but I'm like, I look how I look, like I'm not going to be like on the cover of any GQ or anything like that.
yeah.
Um, but I also know that, like, just from my own experience of like anything in my life, like I notice my own imperfections probably more than the next person does, because we're our own worst critics.
Yeah,
So yeah, like you could like have a photo of yourself where you look amazing, but oh, there's like a little wrinkle that kind of like shows your gut a little bit, and I'll notice that, myself. So yeah, I think like yeah, I just think it's one of the benefits of doing YouTube, but I have noticed like it definitely makes me I feel self-conscious when I go on YouTube. Like I need the lighting just right.
yeah.
I would focus on what I wear and everything. Like I always like, people see me wearing this. I always like have my go-to shirts and everything. Um yeah, it's tough though. It is tough like to
There
go about
is
that.
there's something to it. There's such a thing as pretty privilege.
Pretty
I don't know if you ever,
privilege.
yeah, I don't know if you
Oh
ever heard of
no.
that.
No, I
So
haven't.
beautiful people have this thing where they're kind of privileged for being beautiful. They get away with a lot more stuff. Life is a little bit easier for them.
Mhm.
And I have some friends who are like that, who are just like, I explain to them some of my issues, and then they're like, I never had that. What do you mean? Do people have that? It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? How have you been going through life not experiencing that? Like I had a friend who never experienced rejection, and I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean
Oh,
you never
wow.
experienced? What do you mean nobody said no to you? What do you mean? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, I mean, people said no to him and like things, but nobody said no to him as like, no, don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm like, nobody.
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, well, look at you. Um, but on YouTube, it's like obviously there's a lot of that, right? Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of, if you're on YouTube, you can sort of tell that the people who are the most popular have either are very pretty, very smart, or have something. You have
Yeah.
to have the it's a weird thing. It's just a weird thing. I think we as humans are kind of fascinated by this physical appearance first, and
Mhm.
then the actual content of all of it.
Yeah.
So when you go into YouTube, you're kind of faced with this, and you kind of question all of it, don't you? You're like, at least I
Yeah.
do. I question, is like, is there something wrong with me, why is this person doing better? What's going on there? So
Well,
you
we're
jumped.
like, we're animals. We're sexually motivated. Like I think a
Yeah,
lot of people are. I think, I have noticed. You, I'll notice like I think a lot of very attractive women are often more insecure than they let on. Partly probably because they're under that microscope, like they're showing themselves, and I don't know, like I feel like maybe it's that similar thing to what I was saying. Like I noticed this minor imperfection in myself, and maybe they're doing the same. But then again, you have some women who they know they look good, and they use it, and as activists too, we have to use our assets, so like I would definitely never discourage someone from like if you're a very attractive person, then maybe you are the person who should be like very forward facing.
yeah.
Or it could even be like a situation where like if someone's like really beautiful or handsome or something, like then why aren't you on YouTube? Why aren't you like making content? Because you could help a lot of animals that way. I wish I had that. I wish I could just like go on YouTube and like post some like beach photos of myself and then like get a bunch of followers and then talk about the animals. But wait, what are you gonna do? I guess I could hit the gym. I could do that.
You do have the beautiful blue eyes, huh? You do have the,
I got
the
yeah, but I get compliments on my eyes. That's nice.
yeah.
But that's just one little thing. I can't just go around staring at people like up close. They see the rest of me. If I could just like
But
have, I could dress like how the Muslim women dress, where it's just my eyes. That would be perfect.
that would be funny to see you do that. But like you could, if you're going for something, hit the gym if that's what you want.
Well,
Like
right, right. Yeah,
building
exactly.
a body that's like, how do you put it, beach body, is it?
Yeah, beach
Uh,
bod or something. Right, right. Yeah,
it's hard at first, but like everything, it just becomes a habit, and then it
yeah.
becomes easier if that's what you want. But I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know if that's what you want. Like I don't. I never really understood what works on YouTube. I have seen beautiful people not not have huge success, and I have seen um you know people who are not as beautiful have huge success. So it's,
Hmm.
I tend to think it's, you kind of have to have a combination of uniqueness, beauty, and something to say. Because if you
Yeah.
don't have any of that, it's like, yeah, I don't think,
Well, and
yeah,
that's what's so flattering when you do have an audience, and it must feel like you do have a pretty dedicated audience, and they could be watching anything. And you notice there's a lot of people doing live streams on YouTube these days. So it's tough. Like, and we even have crossover. Like a lot of us, when I first started streaming, sometimes I'd be worried because I'd noticed my friend was streaming or something. And I realized like, wow, like we're all streaming a lot. So I kind of stopped trying to time it in that way. But so it's very flattering when someone like joins your stream when they could be watching literally anything and doing anything else, but they're
yeah,
there to watch
never
you
thought
talk to
about that.
some. Yeah, yeah,
It's a good point.
um yeah. And I mean, especially they're engaging with content that quite frankly they've probably seen a lot of this stuff said over and over again, so it's doubly flattering. um and probably shows like that you're reaching people who are very motivated and looking for, do you consider that too? Like I'm sure you do, where like you consider, not only am I trying to reach non-vegans, but I'm also trying to help the vegans not only hone their craft and debating skills, but also encourage them to be motivated and doing things.
I was trying at some point to do more in that direction. I work for We the Free. I'm a software engineer for We the Free, and
Mm,
We the Free meets once a year with all the employees, and we discuss specifically this: how to get more vegan people to be activists, and how to get more people to be vegan. But the most important one is how to get more vegan people to be activists, because then we know that that will reach more people.
yeah.
And one of the things was to try and inspire more and more people to go to be active. And I think what I learned is that there are a lot of people who became active after watching me because um, people from We the Free told me that there's a lot of people who saw me and then they felt the need to be active. I feel like I don't speak about it enough. I feel like a lot of the times I get too much into the non-vegan side, trying to get non-vegans to look at the vegans, and I especially get sucked in by the trolls. I'm just realizing this more and more. Especially today, I realized it, and
Mm,
I want to stop doing that. But um, yeah, I think like there's a lot of value to that. There's a lot of value to people, to vegans doing activism. There's a
mm,
lot of value, even if one person goes out there and does once, and it's the reason why I now I remember why I didn't do it more is because I feel like I don't want to give people the opportunity to say that this is the only way to do activism, and I also don't want in a way to discredit the people who are actually having conversations in the chat,
mm,
because the conversations in the chat are activism.
mm,
The being there and having these conversations is a form of activism. Even supporting me, who's doing this on the street, is a form of activism. All of
mm,
them are forms of activism, and I don't want to discourage any of those.
mm,
So it's hard for me to tell people, well, you know what, now get up, whatever you're doing, and do this other thing. And
mm,
I feel like one thing I noticed in at least the community that comes around my channel is that all of them have found a little bit of some way of doing activists on their own, at least the ones that are verbal or communicative in the chats and stuff. Maybe some of them, people watching me, are like, I don't know what to do yet. And I do think we need to speak more about it. I did speak about it once, but I keep forgetting that people need repetition. So I
mm.
should speak more about it, the methods to do activism. So yeah.
I don't know, like, because at the same time, like, a lot of it's just sort of leading by example too. So I was just sort of like wondering, does it even need to be said? I don't know. I mean, maybe. Just sort of spitballing here though. Um,
But
because
it's not the only way to do activism, is it?
for
You're
sure.
right that you need to show it. I just think like you showed this one form of activism, but stickering, I never show stickering yet. It's
Hmm.
a very good form of activism. So
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
I think more needs to be talked about the other ways also.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially for people who aren't doing activism, like giving them a lot of I've tried to do this on my channel sometimes, just like giving them a lot of ideas of like different ways of doing things, like you mentioned, stickering, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, because I mean, not everybody is gonna do the same form of activism. And if they think like, oh, well, if I want to be an activist, I have to do exactly what Chip does and do it as
Yeah.
well as Chip does, which they may not be there. Then yeah, they may be discouraged from that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, one of the messages I always try to push on my channel is the one that you followed yourself, was just to try to start. Um, and I go back to like when I played piano on the street for a little while. I remember I had reached like a wall, and then I had this like piano instructor for a little while who mentioned to me that he wouldn't have like he wouldn't have encouraged me to start playing because I wasn't ready yet. And I always thought that that's sort of the opposite of what I would do. I would say, no, go out there and start playing, sound like shit, and learn, and then realize that nobody cares that you sound like shit. For one, that's a good life lesson. Your mistakes, nobody gives a shit about, because they're like in their head, they're doing their own thing. Um, so yeah, if you make a mistake doing your outreach, who cares? Except for the one troll, obviously, is going to hold it over your head forever. But
Yeah, imagine you say cows in the dairy industry are killed at like 6 years or 4 years, and they're actually killed at six. And then I don't know. Sometimes I think we have this irrational belief that if this person goes home and then sees that it's actually 6 years instead of four, as you said, then they're like, "Oh, that's it. I'm not being vegan anymore."
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like that,
exactly.
right? Like, I
Right,
think
right.
the overall, you send an overall idea, and you send the overall decide, like, at least the conversations I have with people is not me saying my view. Sometimes I do,
Yeah,
but it's a lot of the times just, hey, you see, you're there, you want that,
right.
why don't you apply that? Like, we noticed that vegan conversations are just about getting people to live in line with their own values and be consistent with all
Yeah,
animals, not just dogs or cats. So um I feel like that then doesn't really matter, because all you're doing is just ruffling, you're just stirring the pot in this person's head, stirring the
Hmm.
pot until all the pieces fall in the right place. And maybe they do in that conversations, and then they want to go vegan there. Or maybe you're just stirring the pot a little bit so that this person, when they get home, they put the pieces in place themselves. But you yourself don't play a big role in that. You're just literally I stir the pot. That's all you are. You're just the person
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
was trying to get you're essentially like I tend to believe that ChatGPT or AI, if we had some form of robots that were humanoid look like, we should have them on every corner discussing veganism, because
Hmm.
they would do
That'd be
an
cool.
excellent job. They would do an
Yeah.
excellent job to people, and then people would just be vegan on their own. So
Hey, maybe that's what we need. Some billionaire, some vegan billionaire, if there is one, should just pay for that to happen. And then we
wouldn't
could
that be
all
something?
and then we could all retire and go to the beach instead and show off the beach bodies that we had time to work on.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, and then when it really, like, I really do advocate, like, I try to have authors on it when people have books come out and stuff, and I do advocate for people to learn more, just to add to their arsenal of, like, how to talk about this stuff. At the same time, it really is just simple, isn't it? It really is just about not harming someone, and it can just be as simple as that. And so you don't need to have read Animal Liberation or any of these other books to start talking to people and advocating that very message, which is, and I think, you know, didn't you mention, like, your first conversation was sort of telling your story? I mean,
Yeah,
just telling your own story when talking to someone too is
can
a great entry point.
can be very powerful. And I think, like, because you said harm, and I feel like some of the vegans would be like,
Oh,
it's
right,
not
you. Right, right,
exploitation. It's not exploitation. Well,
right,
you know, I don't care what you call it. It's that bad thing we do to animals.
right,
Everyone knows
right.
it. Like, and I feel like if you call it harm, and somebody calls some, and it's like, yeah, but you see, this isn't harmful, so it's okay. This person was just looking for excuses in the first place. Like, it's not like if you
Yeah.
all of a sudden made the perfect argument, they would have been like, "Are you right?" No, it's I never thought plants have feelings. I like my only excuse in my brain before going vegan was that there's no way that any of this is happening here, right? Like that
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
was more than like I was kind of aware what animals go through. I was just like kind of not believing that it's happening here in a civilized country. It's not like that. It's a little bit better. There's all these measures,
Hmm.
and I'm it's not that. I'm not the one paying for that stuff, right? And it was because here it's not happening like that. So all I had to do was do a little simple Google search and realize, oh, it is like that here. So I'm like, okay, well, that's how I
Yeah.
became vegan. So I feel like everyone has that little thing where they know what we do to animals is bad. Your argument of whether you call it exploitation, harm, or anything else, it won't
Hmm.
make a difference. They know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I actually do try to catch myself and use exploitation when I can, just because it covers the gamut. But I also don't like word policing, really. Like, it's just
yeah,
kind of annoying. But yeah, it's not bad to, like, subtly correct each other from time to time. But like, I would say exploiting is harm, so, like, harming
yeah,
is also covered. I mean, if you're using someone for your own ends, then yeah. But yeah, I
I
do
agree with
think
you.
I think yeah, I wonder, like, I mean, that gets into some of the issues that we have in the movement with infighting. And I don't want to dwell on it too much, because I don't like infighting, and I don't want to perpetuate it by talking about it too much. But I wonder if, during your course in the movement, that you've seen things that you wish we would do more of, you wish we would do less of. And I mean, obviously, infighting is just one of those things that I think most people agree we do too much of. I don't know. Not everybody. Not everybody agrees that. Yeah. What do you think about that, though?
I do think I was actually going to make a video about this. I think the vegan movement is growing. and I think infighting is an inherent part of that. And we now, whereas when I started there was AV, that's it, and maybe a little bit of We the Free. Now there's a lot more organizations than AV and We the Free. There's a lot of innovators going out there and doing outreach their own way. I don't know, like at least here in Amsterdam, like Vegan Future, what my friend invented, they try all sorts of ways, they try all sorts of methodologies, and some of them I hear, I'm like, holy shit, that's interesting, and it works, and it's perfect. So it's growing. The movement is growing more and more. There's more types of outreach, there are more types of activism, but at the same time there's more types of groups. There's the people who think B12 is a lie, which
Hmm. Hmm.
oh, you have slots. Then there's the Leslie Cox, there's the imperfect vegans, there's just all of these people now in the movement. They have a pretty substantial size, even some of them,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, this just tells me that there's a lot of people now that are vegan. This is what I take from this. Is there infighting? Sure. I actually tend to believe that at some point the vegan movement will divide, that there will be some people going one way or another, but I think the core idea of it will still be for all the same. It's about this bad thing we do to animals, and nobody wants that to happen.
Yeah.
And because maybe some people will decide to no longer call themselves vegan or call themselves something else, and that's fine, again,
Hmm.
as long as we fight for the same thing. um what I think about infighting, though, i don't I don't waste too much time on it.
Hmm.
If people don't want to call me vegan, like I used to at the beginning, I used to cling to this idea of vegan. I was very proud of it. Nowadays I'm like, you know what? Just don't call me vegan. Move on. That's it. Okay, I'm not vegan. You
Hmm.
won. Can we
Oh,
talk about the issue?
do you have a situation where people aren't calling you vegan or sufficiently vegan, or uh,
Yeah.
construing the vegan message? I mean, yeah, the obviously the answer is yes, because it happens to everybody who's doing
The Leslie Crosscocks, we know those. In fact, the David Ciorina's crew, not just that they said that I'm not vegan, to me, like David Ciorina's, to me and all their people, but there's also a couple of groups, I won't say more, where there are people to watch as they'll become ex-vegans. They're like on the watch list, and
Mm,
there's some prominent figures who are in these groups, and they're like,
hmm,
uh, you know, watch out for this person. They might become ex-vegan. So, they tend to look out. And I'm not in any of those, by the way. I was just told
mm,
about the existence of these groups. And I was told that I was sent by one of the people from the Leslie Crosscocks. I was sent there, and like that I'm going to be an ex-vegan soon or something. Like, and then
hmm,
everyone was like, "What do you mean he does so much outreach?" No, not, I don't think that's the case, and that wasn't the case. This was like a year and a half ago or something.
hmm.
So yeah, I get a lot of
Yeah.
I'm not vegan also.
Yeah, I think you're right to not pay too much attention about it. I almost feel bad to open up that on this channel anyway. But but yeah, no, you've done amazing work. I mean, like I said, I've been knowing about you for about 2 years. Yeah, since I started the channel and people were recommending your channel, and yeah, you've done fantastic. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's never going to be a perfect conversation, so that's why in a way, that's why we enjoy, we watch, we analyze, like we can see, improvements. Like another thing about people's channels, like when someone starts a channel, and why I encourage people in all forms of life, whatever you're doing, to just start and try, is like you'll see a progression too. Like, so my first YouTube video was like with a shitty camera, shitty microphone. It wasn't great. And it's actually one of my most viewed videos still, because it was just me. I don't know. Maybe YouTube like pushes like a new channel or something. I think that's the only reason. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like yeah, don't be dissuaded from doing activism, but just realize you are going to get criticism when you're if you do anything, you're going to get criticized.
I don't even mind criticism anymore. I honestly, there are some people I also found. Oh, there's also the right-wing vegans,
Mm, mm,
which
yeah.
I'm pretty outspokenly against the right-wing movement nowadays.
Hmm.
I just can't sit idly by and be like, oh no, yeah, we're vegans, we just fight for this. No, I'm also a feminist. I'm also all these other things. So I
Hmm.
can't like okay, veganism doesn't really have a lot to do with the right wing movement. In fact, I think there's been some like the anti-testing thing that they're going through, the anti-animal testing in US, which is kind of like for the vegan movement.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just can't be ignoring the blatant racism and
Hmm.
sexism and hell, I'll say it, kind of rise of fascism that's going on, and that and all around the world, really.
Hmm.
Um, and I do criticize Trump. I do criticize all these people, and I kind of make fun of them. And I do get comments from time to time of people, vegans, being like, "Well, I don't think I can watch your channel anymore because I'm like, you bash on Trump too much or you bash on religion too much." And I'm like, well, feel bad, but what,
Well,
I'm sticking to my values. What can I do about it?
what a horrible world, like, if you were having to censor yourself in such a way that you couldn't talk about what you cared about, and
Yeah,
I'm guessing you would say the same for them too, like, if, like, they can't talk about what they care about, that would suck too. So,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, but I've told this, like, there's a there's a business owner near me who very outspoken about certain causes and has caused them to lose business. And I just told him, like, just keep on doing, what you do. Like, doesn't everybody have to agree with you? I mean, that's the thing about the YouTube. It's like, why it's flattering that people will join a stream because they can watch anything. But then, you know, they can also decide if they don't like your politics and stuff. And we can all decide that too. Like, I may make decisions based on, like, I decide who I go for in the NBA finals based on whether the guy wore a fur coat. I mean, so that has nothing to do with that. I was going against the Oklahoma City Thunder because their star was showing up to news conferences wearing fur coats. So I was rooting hard
My
against
God,
them. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So, and they lost. So that's what it just goes to show. It's probably
It's
the fur
because of
coat.
you. It's
Yeah.
because of you.
Yeah.
See? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. And because of my rooting for them again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It worked.
They got a negative vibe going on.
They did. They felt that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've been talking about an hour 45. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I always ask people, like, are there any books or movies or films or anything that you've, like, leaned on for inspiration, or just things that you like? It could be animal rights stuff, or just, like, even things beyond that that you kind of want to shout out. And
I think I would be reminisced, not share, obviously, Earthling Ed's books, both of them. How to Argue with a Meteor and Win Every Time. It's a very good book.
mm,
Uh, there's also The Eternal Treblinka was a pretty good book. I think,
yeah,
like, but it's a hard book though. I felt like it wasn't not hard as in hard to read, but hard as in emotionally for me, at least when I read it. That I felt some. I had to put. It was the type of book that I had to kind of put down from time to time.
yeah,
Um, but the one book that I just could not put down, and it has nothing to do with veganism, but it will help your outreach. It will help you as a person in general. The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
mhm,
It's just a book that goes through logical fallacies and kind of how they affect us, and it helps you kind of think critically. And it's such an interesting read, and you can go through it chapter by chapter. You can kind of skip some chapters if you want, but you do learn to think critically, and I think that's a very valid thing in outreach, to think critically.
mm,
There's also, I think, how to what was it? I have two more books, but about persuading people. One is How to Split the Cost, I think it's called. That was a good
mm.
one.
Oh, how to split the check, maybe, or something? Was
Yeah,
that?
something like that. It was
Uh,
by a guy who did like negotiations for the
uh,
FBI or something,
Interesting.
like hostage negotiations.
Uh,
Um, it's a little bit American. it's,
yeah.
it's a little bit American, the book, but it's an interesting read. You
Mhm.
definitely learn some things there. Um, and not, I mean, there was another book about deep canvassing. The method where you kind of talk to people and kind of get them to relate to what you're saying. and
Mm,
then go back there. But it's hard to say because I pick up a lot of books and I lose interest fast. So
mm,
I start a book, I go towards the middle, and then I'm like, oh, this becomes predictable. So then I stop and I stop
mm,
reading it. And it kind of happened with almost every book except for the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe,
mm,
which I just enjoyed it to the end. Um, so it's hard for me to recommend your good book. That's
mm.
the one I would recommend. I also am very fascinated with the immune system, which I have a book over here. I'm very
Oh,
fascinated with
nice,
the immune system. It's very interesting.
nice.
Um, yeah, but I also have the Skeptic's Guide to the Future. I'm a big fan of the whole critical thinking genre, which talks about this ideas of the future and
Mm,
what to expect. Because a lot of the times we talk about the future as if it's this magical thing, but they go more
yeah.
down to earth
Well,
thing.
nice. Well, we'll link to that, and we'll link to your channel and all your work. And yeah, I appreciate you, Chip. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. I'm glad we made it happen. And yeah,
Same.
keep on doing your thing. It's incredible. And you're always welcome back on this channel anytime.
Appreciate you, Jeremy. Can I ask you one question though? Can I
Yeah, go
ask you
for
one
it.
question? Okay. So amongst all of your viewers,
Yeah, yeah.
who's your favorite?
Oh, that's messed up, Chip. That's messed up. You would pit them all against each other, wouldn't you?
You put
Well,
them
of
all
course, I
against
love
each
them
other.
all. I love them all,
Of
Chip.
course.
I mean,
But there has to be
you've been
that
a
one person that
you,
that always makes you smile when you see them there, right?
oh yeah, but there's like a handful of them. So
Same. I also get a handful of.
I would be doing a disservice if I named one of them, but you guys know who you are. You guys are always in my stream all the time. Um, I
What's a
do a lot of
troll that you hate then? If there's a troll that you hate, what's the one troll
I
that you
think
can
they've been
remember that you
banned.
hate?
Um, I uh I have banned, I think, two people from my channel. I don't
Two.
hate I let me just say I don't hate the trolls. I do remember banning someone or muting them or something. I don't remember their name, but they were on I'm sure they've been on yours. And it was really like that they were coming to my channel repeatedly and not connecting with the message and still like, viewing me as such a friend. And I don't feel proud of this, honestly, but I like muted them because they reminded me that it had been like a year. And I was like, oh, wow, you've been like coming to my channel for a year, engaging with my content, my gaming content mainly. But like you're on all the vegan channels and then you get into fights with people in the chats. Now, granted, like sometimes people are starting the fights with this person, but I just remember being like, it's not okay. Like I was just thinking like,
Yeah.
it's been a year. Like you should have gotten this message by now. I didn't mean to make this serious, by the way, but I ended up like muting that person for a little time, and then I think they like went away. But
Mm.
yeah, but I mean, how dare you, Chip, try to pit my viewers against each other?
That's what I
so
like. Drama. It's
so
the drama queen in me.
I'm on to you, Chip, because what you realize is that if you could pit them against each other and they weren't viewers, so they'd be like, "Oh, fuck Jeremy! Like, we'll go to Chip's page then."
That's what
That's
it's a secret. That has been my plan all along. You're right. You're
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Jeremy. You're right. Um, no,
Well,
I
if
mean, I'm just curious because like I believe that some of these people, like there are some people who constantly come to my streams, and
yeah,
I just get happy when I see them, and I think I'm gonna start saying it
yeah,
more often to them because um I feel like they matter a lot. Like they don't
oh
realize how
yeah,
much they matter, and it's important that people. I guess I wasn't necessarily saying that to mention that one person as to ignore
mm,
the others, but more like, I think a lot of us realize just how much some of the supporters who come to our channels a lot and they engage and do all that, how much they matter to us as creators. And I never understood it when I was on the other side. When I was on the side of constantly going to somebody's channel and this person I was seeing saying, well, thank you guys, it's because of you and I'm so grateful for you, I was always like, I don't think this person means it or something, it's just something they say. But then when you're on the side, you're like, no, I get it, you're really just grateful, you really do enjoy these
hmm
people. It's a parasocial relationship. It's just a different type of relationship, right? It
for sure.
doesn't have
Yeah.
to be. anything else.
But yeah, I mean, when you have people on your channel that have been coming to your channel for a while, it's like you are going through life together in a way. Like you are like
Yeah.
experiencing things with them. They share about themselves. And I'll point out this one thing, like my first ever gaming stream that I did where I was playing this game Alien. There had been like nobody in the chat for a while, and then one person showed up, and it really made all the difference to have like one person experiencing that with. So yeah, it does matter to content creators that yeah, it does make a difference. And I'm almost worried as my channel's still fairly small, but as it grows more and more, those, you know, friendships, relationships and stuff will be harder to track because people chatting. And it's part of the reason why sometimes I don't go to the same channels that I used to, because they've gotten so like noisy that you don't really interact with the person anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of a
True.
shame, but also I'm glad, you know, in that sense. But yeah, I'm a little worried if my channel ever does achieve success on that level, it may lose something because I won't have that kind of one-on-one connection with some of the people, and as to a greater extent. Have you experienced that? Because you're you have a pretty successful channel.
It's okay. It's not the most successful. I don't know what the successful channel is like. Looking
Yeah,
at some of
I don't
the,
know how you measure it, but
yeah, especially in the vegan space where, you're so limited by the audience, by the people who want to watch the content, people who skip your content. I think I have a successful outreach, like as in I reach more a
mhm,
lot of people successfully. Um, do do I feel that way? I feel like there's some people who have come and go, people who I still remember were from the beginning.
yeah,
And I still remember them fondly. And I kind of wish they came back. Don't get me wrong, not just because
mhm,
I just genuinely enjoyed those people. They were nice people. Um, but we still have a nice community. I still think there are some people who are always there, and the community is a little bit tighter there, and they're like, you kind of have your own way of talking to these people, right? With every person, because I kind of respond to some people. I always respond in the comments, or I try to, and with these people, I kind of have the same connection here and there. And I, no matter how big the channel grows, what I noticed is I watch this Romanian channel. It's called The Doctor, which is a guy who just like comments on stuff. It's kind of funny to me.
mhm,
And I noticed that he's got like, I don't know, 80,000 subscribers or something.
mhm,
And he still interacts with some people there, and
mhm,
some people are meaningful to them there also, because they're
yeah,
a bit more active. And I feel like maybe no matter how big your channel goes, some people will always be the active ones, be there for you. And this small tight knit community kind of grows a little bit. That's how I felt like, but it always reaches a certain point and then it doesn't really grow anymore, because there aren't as many people who always come to always, or they're always supportive or stuff like that, right? There's some people who are kind of, sometimes people who are there, people who are there, but there's one tiny community that either are very in line with your message, or in line with you, or with both, or either, and
mhm,
they're kind of always there. I don't think you forget those people, and I don't think, no
yeah,
matter how big your channel goes, and that's kind of how I feel like, and
yeah. Yeah,
I'm grateful for them.
you'll always remember like your first subscriber if you are able to identify that person, and yeah, all that, and the people who have been there since the beginning. And I mean, the other thing too with veganism too, I feel like a lot of people come into the movement with some trauma from what they've witnessed, you know, like I think maybe people who are vegan maybe had trauma before they went vegan, which is why they can empathize with animals to a greater extent perhaps. So there's definitely like some like therapeutic aspect to, you know, having this community. And so I think it may be in some ways doubly important for the vegan community also just to maintain that, and also to be able to like put the animals front and center. And it's always, you know, I remember when you were talking about how you get something out of this too. um yeah, I always point to this example of where I had to do this vigil for some animals, and I was like going through something really hard at the time, and I just remember I
Mm.
had to set it aside because I had to go to do the vigil thing, and it was like it really helped me to just keep in perspective that my problem wasn't that big, that
Yeah.
they were gonna, be having a much worse day than I was, to put it mildly. So yeah, yeah,
It's I also want to add that, the community doesn't just help us, it also helps them. It's
yeah.
it's hard to say, it's not just the community, but the, you know I was saying today that I'm going to try to make more vegan content, because I just make like outreach, which isn't really vegan content. It's kind of like somewhere in the middle. It's like activist content, and maybe, but vegan content is also very useful. I find myself a lot of the times on YouTube not finding enough content where I can feel safe to watch.
Hmm.
Even just content that I watch while I eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, because if I eating something and this person all of a sudden starts chopping off meat or something, I'm like, oh God,
Mm-hmm.
this is disgusting, and it just ruins the whole thing.
Mm.
So there is this necessity for, playing games, doing all the stuff
Yeah.
where, you can feel safe. You're safe here. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
you are safe. I'm not gonna kill an animal here. You're not gonna see anything like that. You're
Mm-hmm.
safe, relax, and if there's some trolls here, we don't like them, and we're here for another thing. So
Yeah.
everyone gets a little bit of value from it. I mean, I'm saying
Oh
that
yeah.
just
Yeah.
because I think we shouldn't just see this as a, we do everything for the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
doing this also for the vegans, doing this for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
can also help keep more people in that position. Because while I live in a place where being vegan is easy,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy. Like, I have a lot of vegan friends. There's a lot of vegan products around me. It's extremely cheap to be vegan here. Like, I can't complain, and I have a life where I dedicate my life towards fighting for animal rights and all that. So it's kind of a big deal in my life. I feel like for somebody who feels like it's a big deal for them, but they have nobody around them, they can't find any content, they can't find any support, it's very easy to give it up. And I don't think we should also judge them in that manner, because
Yeah.
I don't think they're giving it up in a sense that they don't believe in it. I think they're just giving up because they just can't. They just
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
physically. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry they feel that way. And we do need more community. And actually, one of the forms of activism that I've been telling We the Free, and I keep telling everyone, is organize in your city, in your area. Just put a poster out there. Hey, vegans, let's meet. Go out there, and
Mm.
nobody shows up first time. Nobody shows up the second time. And hey, and if nobody shows up the 30th time, and hey, you gave it a try. But if one person joins, if a second person joins, you don't know how much that could mean to somebody. Just
Yeah.
finding, even like like the community aspect of it is activism in its own, as I'm saying, and it matters a lot to everyone, and it makes us
Yeah.
stronger, and it makes us work better.
Well, and like also local organizing too. I see some benefit to having like just events where people go to have fun instead of like doing activism. Just go, like hike or something like that. So then
Yeah,
people are, just building community. Yeah. Also, with regards to YouTube, I actually find myself watching vegan activist content less and less, to be honest, and that in no
same.
way reflects my lack of commitment. It's because I feel like I've seen a lot of it, and I'm going to see the same arguments. And also, I don't want to get into that, like you described. Possibly some of the AV people were at the time like in that bubble, and not really understanding uh, how most people think, and that sort of stuff. But yes, and then also the gaming stuff that I do on my channel was like I put it at one point like it was, oh, there's like a secondary goal, like, well, I'll bring in non-vegans, and then they'll be introduced to vegan content, and that never really happened. So I realized, okay, it's just gaming. That's all it is. It's fine. It's for me. It's for them.
Yeah,
But it's not really meant to be altruistic or anything. It's just to have fun and chill. Yeah,
yeah, and
and
that's
that's
that there's
okay.
a lot of value to that. There's a lot of value that, like, trolls sometimes come into my stream, and then they, oh, that's so selfish. What the fuck do you mean, man? That's like,
Hmm.
we're all human beings. We're not machines.
Right.
And while we will continue the fight for animals, as you said, like, nowadays I can barely watch outreach content. I only watch a couple
Hmm.
from time to time, and that's because I still find some, like for example, Jake, I feel like does a little bit like a plant geezer. He doesn't really
Yeah,
speak to people. He just does these interesting things where he goes and tells people not to bully animals. Man, I
yeah,
love him.
I
He's
do
so
too. I do
entertaining.
too. He makes activism also entertaining to watch because
Yeah.
of how bold he is, and yeah, he's like one of my favorite channels that I discovered in the last year or two, where it's like, yeah, this is like insane. Well, it's
Yeah.
also just like incredibly bold to just go into a slaughterhouse um, on your own and film everything, and it's almost unheard of in America. I don't know if it's different there, but like when I first started watching him, I was like, damn, like Jake would go anywhere and do anything.
It's
Yeah,
insane to me how much courage he has. Like I'm like, what the? Well, like this is
yeah,
something. This is something else. So
yeah.
it's interesting to see his content. But you're right. The conversations. They're. It's not that the activist. The activist is interesting. It's
Hmm.
the non-vegan that brings up the same arguments on and on. And
Right.
after you've had 4,000 conversations and heard another 4,000, it's kind of enough. You're kind of
Yeah,
enough. You
yeah,
know, you're kind of like want something else. So
yeah.
I've been thinking about that more and more, and I feel like I still will do the streams and I will still post some content, but I want to move a little bit more into other types of content, just to to maybe attract some non-vegans also that way, to maybe attract some vegans who are like need more community and they're kind of fed up with just activism.
Hmm.
um
Hmm. Hmm.
just just something there, just something to to, to get more
Yeah.
people,
w-
in the door, and then see where it goes, because I honestly want to make it a career. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I I software engineering is dying. ChatGPT is killing all jobs. Well, not just
Hmm.
like AI is killing all jobs of software engineering, and I'm like, what do I do next? What
Hmm.
the hell do
Yeah.
I do next? And the more you look into it, the more AI is killing jobs. So I'm like, well, maybe this is a job that AI won't be able to kill too soon. So
Mm.
I'd rather just, I don't need to make profits or something. And if I ever do, I just want to use it for animals. Just need
Hmm.
to make enough money to make a living,
Yeah.
and work my ass off, because it is work. A lot of people don't realize just how much work there is into making content, right? Like
Hmm.
I worked 6 hours today just editing, which is
Hmm.
like the fuck. Like on
Yeah.
top of like I woke up early to do all this, and then I had to do um to work as a software engineer, as I said I do, and then I had
Mhm.
to do outreach, and then I come back and I did some more work. So I'm like, it's just a lot of work,
Yeah.
and it's different types of work too. It's like editing is one type of work, filming is another type of work, doing live stream is another type of work. So you just it's work. A lot of people think you're just having fun, but it's work, and we a lot of the times
Hmm.
they don't realize that. So I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to justify myself
No.
I'm trying to get into this position where I'm want to do
Yeah.
more types of content, but it doesn't mean I forgot or I'm not no longer an activist
Yeah. No.
or
No.
consistent. It just means
Well,
you
if
know
you get bored, for instance, of like the same content, then your content will ultimately start to suffer, I think, because people will see
exactly.
your lack of enthusiasm. So, yeah, you have to find some joy in things. And like you, like, I think Vegan Gays and I were talking about this a little bit, how like we're in, like we're in it for life,
Yeah.
but the point being that some people move a little different. Like uh they may need like a little bit of time to process things or like take some time off. I'm pretty consistent, but I need those, like, I need to escape to sports or whatever it is to watch for a little while. Um primarily because, like, yeah, I'm not gonna like stop for like doing activism for like 2 years or anything like that. I'm never gonna do
Yeah.
that. So I need to take some time in the day. And also, I'm not done. I don't consider this done until we won, until we achieve the goal. And I'm
And even
realistic.
then,
Yeah,
even
exactly.
then.
I mean, I don't, I'm realistic. I don't think it's going to happen necessarily in my lifetime where there's not going to be anything left to battle about. So it's going to be, you
I'm
know,
there's just times when for me recently, like I've been wondering if it's the most productive, you know.
Mm,
And I've been wondering that because, you know, it's not that I don't enjoy, as I said, like I get something out of all of this. I just wonder, is it really the most productive use of my time, or could my time be used more productively, even for the animals, right?
mhm, mhm,
Could I recently, like after discussing with We the Free and stuff, I recently learned that one of the best things you can do and as a vegan is make money. It sounds
mm,
insane,
mhm,
but
mhm,
make money and use that money to fund activism. There just
mhm,
isn't enough money in activism. It's sad to
mhm,
say, but it's one of the best things you can do nowadays. I do think the movement has grown to a point where more and more people know about veganism is. So we now need a little bit of change on the other side, where maybe a little bit more products, maybe the price down and increasing the price of animal products. So maybe policies.
mhm,
Um, we kind of, I think we're reaching the point where we need to branch out. We need to, like, outreach is great. There's a lot of them, and there will continue to be a lot of outreachers, and I think the number will increase. Like I find a new outreacher almost every week. Um, but we need to branch out.
mhm.
Just outreach is not enough anymore. I think we need to
Yeah,
branch out more and more for all of it,
yeah,
gaming, everything. Just make veganism normal. That's what we want. Veganism normal, make veganism cool, and I think it helps everyone in that direction, not just, you know.
yeah. I mean, the sad thing, I think, in it's not sad, but the thing about like activism, I think we need all of it. Like, we need
Mm,
people working on policy. We need all these different forms of activisms. We've got a great movement and pressure campaigns and that sort of thing. We've had this open rescue that went viral. It's there's a lot that's happening, and we need all of it. And we need people doing outreach too. And yeah, we need more more of everything. Honestly, yeah.
what messed with my head the most personally was, and I'm sorry, I'm keeping this too long now,
Oh, it's
but
okay. Yeah.
what messed with my head was that at We the Free, we put this thing after you watch the 3-minute video, you can have a conversation with an AI about what you saw in there,
Oh
and
wow.
it's with ChatGPT essentially, like a chat,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's ChatGPT. I don't know exactly which AI model it is,
Hmm.
or I know, but I don't want to share it. Let me just put it this way: I
Hmm.
don't want to share it
Hmm.
here. And we we built this, and we have statistics, and that after that, the bot kind of analyze the bot or the AI analyzes what the outcome of the conversation is, like how likely are they to go vegan,
Hmm.
and then you see that I do this hell of a work where I'm putting myself on the street. I'm do the editing, I do all this, and it's so much work. And at the end, after 6 videos, 2 people go vegan or something, right?
Hmm.
And then this chat, which is a lot of work, hours and everything, and then this chatbot thing makes 8 people per day vegan. And I'm like, well, okay, well then my time would be better used making coding then and stuff like this, right? Like,
Hmm.
and after seeing that, because we launched this maybe like a couple of months ago, it's relatively new,
Hmm.
and after seeing that, I it definitely got me questioning everything. It
Hmm.
got me, what is the most productive? And that doesn't mean, like, I do understand that there's a lot of vegans who want the community, which I keep bringing it back to. So that
Hmm.
doesn't mean giving up on the community. You can still do that, but
Hmm.
if that's taxing on your system, doing outreach, community, doing all that, and you think that that you're fighting for the animals, maybe that's not the most productive way. Maybe just having a gaming stream where you have com- game with people, and I don't know, then having one conversation with a person there, maybe debating a famous person, maybe all of these things. Like I think I was calculating that the statement that what's her name, Billie Eilish
Oh right.
said.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she made at least 1,000 people go vegan from her own
Mm.
statement. So I'm wondering, what is it better if I just go send emails to famous people and then ask them to speak about it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
is it better if we just get like famous podcasts to speak about it? I don't know, but
Yeah.
it just feels like it just feels like it can become stale to just continuously do the same thing. And it feels stale. And I think, like, as you say, you retreat and you kind of change things up and you do something else. I feel the same way. You need to kind of change things and do things a little bit. There's a little thing in my room now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. But it's not
Well,
afraid of me.
well,
um,
well, I think it's important to like continually evaluate, am I doing, the most effective thing? With the understanding that doing nothing is definitely not the most effective thing. So like
100%. Yeah.
if the baseline is something, and you know how to do something in that respect, and you're good at something, like you are good at the outreach, then that's the baseline. But branching out from there into doing other things that you think might be more useful of your time. I mean, I have to do that a lot now. I used to be like, I'd say yes to everything, and nowadays I say no to a lot of things because I will, realize, well, I should do this or that, or and there are times when I've said no to things when I didn't have anything else and I've just needed some time to like, rest or something. But yeah, so that's definitely something too.
It's not just the time though for me. It's the social battery,
Hmm.
the the stress of it, the interacting of it, that thing that consumes you.
Hmm.
You have a limited amount of that. And I've gained a lot of experience doing outreach and I'm getting good at it, as you said also. And I feel like maybe my time would be better spent helping other activists be great at it. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I could, because I feel like maybe activism is just the type of thing where you will need bigger and bigger breaks as time moves on, or maybe it's the type of thing that most people just move to the next thing afterwards, right? Like we don't know, like we don't have that much data and that many people to go into all of this and do all of this for a long time. Like even Gary Yourofsky, who did it so long, he took a long break afterwards because he just couldn't do it anymore.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's not a solution. I don't want to just like crash out and burn out.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if, because I do catch myself seeing that this energy of that I put into it, and not energy, this social battery energy, this thing, sometimes it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then I recharge and it's normal.
Mm,
But I do see that it gets smaller, like after every recharge, it gets smaller,
mm,
and it
mm.
gets smaller a little bit faster, right? It's like kind of like a battery of a phone.
Yeah.
There is some usage to it, and maybe you just need a little bit of a reset then, and it just bumps it back to normal.
Mm,
But maybe it will always be that way for everyone, because I it's a hard job, man. It's like, and it's
mhm.
not hard
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it sucks or because you don't want to do it, but because of the repetition of the comments, the people being disingenuous, the constant waking up to, like, you I wake up one day and I'm like, these people even know what they're defending?
Hmm.
They understand the level of violence that they're defending? So it's you lose hope. You lose hope, and I feel like that, at least for me, I kind of lose hope. At least I lost hope in all humanity. I definitely lost hope in humanity, and that just kind of drains my battery a little bit faster nowadays.
Mm.
But maybe, maybe it's just a temporary thing, and I'll bounce back right up, or maybe I need to switch things up a little bit. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
one thing is clear, and that's I'm never giving up activism, right?
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of giving it up, but maybe it's just evolving it. So that's
Yeah.
why I constantly ask myself, like, seeing this type of thing where people go vegan so fast from an AI, I'm like, well, okay, that's another way to do activism. And maybe just making content for people, trying to encourage them to do activism, is good enough. Maybe making content for people where they unite is good enough. Maybe just, activism as activism. We shouldn't be picky. I don't want to be called a hero. That's not why I'm in doing this. I'm I'm doing this for the animals, the activism, and the channel, because I like YouTube. That's it.
Well, we've had sort of different paths, but I'll just share that one of the ways that I've combated this is just to sort of stay a free agent for the most part. I say that because, like, when when I got in, it was where I lived, it was like AV and save. So that's what everybody started doing. Then I realized everybody sort of evolved to doing, other forms of activism. Direct action everywhere was a presence then. And, I got involved in certain groups, and then I realized that I agree with you guys about this, don't necessarily agree about that, or I want to work on this, but not for this amount of time or that amount of time. And I've just always realized, like, I take the positive from all these groups, and I love all these groups, and I have nothing negative to say about any of them. But I've also like really benefited from not putting, to use species language, all my eggs in one basket, so to speak, and being able to be like, oh, you guys are doing this, I want to be involved in that. I'm going to come over here and do that. And oh, I also like what they're doing over there and do that. And then also, doing my own thing has also been good. So that helps. That helps me, because yeah, I'm definitely in it for life. I'm not going to stop. Until I'm forced to stop, and through death, I suppose. And yeah, so yeah, well, and then I don't know, maybe I'll do what Ingrid did and say you can use my cadaver so I can be somehow a vegan advocate in death. I mean, part of it though is leaving like content that is gonna outlive you
Yeah.
potentially. So that could be helpful as sort of like a marker. I don't know, but yeah, it is a really tough, finding the purpose in life and finding the drive. That is sort of the big question for an activist. Like how to sustain that over a lifetime is a really hard thing if you're not evolving. And I think that's exactly what you're expressing, is just that you're going
You
to
need to
evolve.
evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important that you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
stick around and don't evolve. And I like what you said. Stick around with what feels right for you, and maybe that's something a little bit different. That's
Yeah.
okay.
And it could
It's
be
okay.
just like, what forms of activism haven't you tried? I was trying to like check all the boxes of like, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. I want to do all the things, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are things on my list too that I haven't done that I'm like, oh, I really want to do that. That seems exciting. That seems, like definitely like so just sort of
Do what
checking those
Jake's doing.
boxes. Yeah, do what Jake's doing for sure. Well, you know what I really like I've really been impressed, like over the years with Watson, Paul Watson, and I'm like, I've never gone out to the high seas and done activism. That one of these days, I'd love to do something like that. That'd be amazing. So yeah, just like, in a way that's selfish because like I don't, joining like a ship, right? Where I have no skills, that's just a burden on them. I'm not, I'm not helping them. They're helping me. But eventually, hopefully you find yourself to end up being helpful. I mean, I'm speaking of the future, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, you do like I have to keep it interesting. Like I get bored really fast. Like you said with the books, halfway into a book, I'm the same way. Like I have, found a lot of books lately that I've been interested in to finish, but I'll do the same thing. I'll start a book and I'll be on to the next thing. And it's the same thing with activism and life in general. When I find something that I'm sticking with for a long time, it's very meaningful. So obviously, animal rights is one of those things. But yeah, yeah. That's why I was always scared of tattoos at one point because I'm like, yeah, I'm really not a permanence kind of guy. Like I go through a lot of change. Finally, I realized,
I see you
okay,
have
it's
one,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I've got the tattoos, but I'm like, as long as they have like a lot of meaning and kind of, you know, some sort of animal rights message for me is gonna be, yeah, I know that's for life. So yeah.
Yeah. It needs to be somebody who you are, right? Like
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
it's if it's on you and you know it, you will always identify as that, and it's why not?
Yeah. Yeah. But like also brainstorming with people you like and stuff. I remember my first video with James Aspie. I didn't know what this channel was going to be, and I remember him saying like, "Oh, we should brainstorm right now. Like, let's figure it out right now." I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
That sort of things. So yeah, like people that you've seen doing content and stuff, and or branching off into other forms of activism. And we should mention too, like content creation, even though we're on YouTube, is obviously not the only form of activism. And in fact, a lot of times, I've made this point. Sometimes people are the most active when you see them the least. Like they may be not posting their content. They may be doing a lot of hard work, and I hate to say there's boring work, but a lot of the really good work that's done in the animal rights movement is the stuff that nobody wants to do. It's like the boring book work, like the stuff that nobody wants to do. Like there's somebody that I
Make
know.
money. Like I
Right,
said,
right, right,
it's boring as shit and it's not as inspiring, and it's maybe like you may not even touch anything, but if you do it and
right. I
you
mean, it just, like handling emails and stuff, getting back to
also,
people. I mean, like all this. I hate being in front of a computer, but I respect the hell out of somebody who can do it for a long time, because it's needed.
yeah,
So, yeah, for sure.
agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that was uplifting for everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just I don't know, like if I were to encapsulate what we've just been talking about, it really is just like follow your passion, your heart, and don't be afraid that your passion and your heart will like change and evolve. If you're finding yourself going away from veganism, then yeah, seek help, because that's but I mean, yeah, if you find
you
yourself,
suck.
yeah, well, you do.
No, it's I think I agree with you. I think it's very important that I think activism, and I think that's one thing. Like if you're stagnant in one position, activism will feel stagnant and you'll inspire less. And moving on and evolving and doing what feels right for you. Maybe that's something on camera, maybe that's something off camera. It's valuable. And
Yeah,
never stop doing activism. I think that's the message. And um, just don't be afraid to evolve into what you need to. And
yeah,
I appreciate that message. And I like speaking to people about it because I don't know how you feel as an YouTuber, but I only get to speak to with about YouTube specifically with a very few amount of people.
yeah.
And it's nice to relate to somebody about it.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that too, Chip. And I also appreciate that you've joined some of my streams before in the past when my channel was brand new, and you were a name already that people knew. It was such an honor. So I really appreciate that.
I think you're doing a great job, man. I think you're
Thank
doing
you.
great.
You
And I
too.
think you're almost at 1,000, right now.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Let's get to 1,000. Come on,
I
everyone. Hit that
yeah, and
subscribe.
yeah, hit like and subscribe. And I mean, I haven't really posted any interviews in a while, so this is me trying to get back into it a little bit. I taken a few months from not doing interviews, so there will be a little flurry of interviews coming out in the next little while. So stay
What
tuned.
type of gaming do you do? It would be cool. I've been meaning to
Yeah,
get into more gaming also. It would be
I
cool
too.
if you did.
I really like indie games, artsy games that are like interesting, that will transport me to some other world that I really like to be. And my viewers will laugh because I play a lot of Tomb Raider lately for some reason. I
Tomb
just
Raider.
really
Oh,
into Tomb Raider. Yeah. So I like artsy games. I like Tomb Raider. I like games where you can climb on things. I'm really into climbing and stuff. Like
that's why you like Jake so much. He climbs all over the stuff, huh?
oh yeah, yeah. Well, I like Jake a lot for many reasons.
No,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
Jake's.
we should have a game, Jake the Activist, where you just climb on
Oh,
stuff in the slaughterhouse and
oh, I
stuff.
mean, I've talked about this, not to start us off on another topic, but we've talked about how like kids when they're growing up, they're playing all these games where you're like James Bond, where you're like a spy, and like there's a lot of really cool animal rights history where people have acted, like and done things like that. And Jake's a good example of somebody like, imagine how cool that would be if kids were growing up playing like what Jake's is doing and growing up and realizing, oh, these are like actual, like the super, like I've been following fake superheroes when I could be like doing what Jake's doing. Oh man, it'd be amazing. be amazing. I know Patrick Baboumian has been working on a game about freeing animals, and I hope it sees the light of day. And I guess I realized like it would be. I was thinking about it the other day. Like I think like the idea of rescuing animals is so controversial in our society for some reason that it must be hard
Right.
for a game developer to think, oh, this is going to pass muster. But I don't know. I hope it happens.
Same.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was such a lovely chat with you, Cip.
Same.
And like I said, you're welcome back anytime. And everybody go check out the links I put below to Cip's channel and give Cip the Jeremy bump, which is you'll probably get like a few subscribers from this, Cip. So don't let it go to your head or anything. You know,
Nice.
you're new.
Thank you. And I mean, if you guys know me and you follow me, and I'm gonna link this also. So if you come from my link, you know, show Jeremy some love. I don't have a specific way of
Give me
saying
the
it.
Cip
Just
bump.
subscribe to Jeremy. If you don't subscribe, we're done. That's it. We're done.
Wow. Yeah. You might lose some people on that because they might think like, nah, I'm good.
Nah.
All right. Take care, Cip.